check test. Hello, check test. Check test. Hello, check test. Hello, check. Hello, check test. Hello, check test. Check test. Hello, check. ठीक है.
Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to you all. Today we are here for a rental housing policy stakeholder consultation. I request all the dignitaries, Sir VP and CEO MHADA Sanjeev Jaiswal sir, to please come on the dais. Also, I request Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, co-founder and MD of Hiranandani Group, Mr. Boman Irani, chairman and MD of Rustamji Group, Shambarkar Sahib, Kailas Shinde Sahib, Abhinav Goyal Sahib, Kunal Khemnar Sahib, to please come on the stage. It is my honor and privilege to welcome each one of you to this rental housing policy stakeholder consultation, a platform dedicated to reimagining Maharashtra state's urban living landscape and accelerating the development of safe, affordable and sustainable rental housing. I request DY CEO Anil Wankhede sir to welcome all the dignitaries on stage. Also, Wag Sahib to welcome We extend our warm welcome to all the senior officers and all the dignitaries present over here. Thank you and we look forward to a productive and inspiring session ahead. Thanks.
Firstly, good afternoon to all the distinguished guests, colleagues, industry leaders, and friends who are present here. It's an honor to welcome you to this pivotal stakeholder consultation. And we are here to present and discuss a strategic framework for one of the Maharashtra's most pressing urban challenges, which is the creation of a formal, secure, and inclusive rental housing market. We are not presenting a document, but we are initiating a very critical dialogue to refine a policy that will shape our state's urban future. With this introductory remarks, I welcome my colleague, Abhinav, Kailash, Kunal, Hiranandani sir for being here, Baman here, and all the representatives from MCHI. Parag is also here, so Parag, hi, Dominic and all the others, and all the representatives from MHADA, MCHI, CREDAI, NAREDCO. So before I make the formal presentation, I'll just give a backdrop as to why we are all assembled here. You see, it was when we came up with the housing policy in 2025. And as you're aware, the housing policy came after almost a gap. The revised housing policy came after a gap of almost 15 years. So one of the components that has been included, I'll not go into the housing policy as a whole, but one of the important components which has been missed out till date, either at the national level or at the state level, was the rental housing component. Now, we have all been talking about affordable housing and clusters and this, so that the housing policy has well covered those issues. So there was a suggestion made that this is the right time, though we are a little late, that we should now step into the rental housing sector, which somehow has been missed or somehow has been not thought of in the serious way by all the planners or the policy makers. As a part of it, MHADA was appointed as the nodal agency for this rental policy. An informal presentation was made to the Honorable Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister Housing and all the senior authorities and officers, whereby it was directed to MHADA that now that you have done the structuring, study the patterns in the country, across the world, and based on that, come out with a proper rental housing policy. And not only that, also make an act and the rules that is related to it. I'm very happy to say that as I speak today, the act is ready, the rules are ready. Obviously, I can't share that for the simple reason that there is a privy to that in the sense of, certain element of protocols to be followed. Hereafter, I spoke to the Honorable Chief Minister last night, and he's aware of this conference, and maybe next week or so, after we get the stakeholders' inputs, a formal presentation again would be made to him and the Housing Minister. And based on that, maybe with some changes or some committees formed or whatever it is, it shall go to the legislature for the incorporation of the amendment or the act. So having said that, a warm welcome to all of you. Now, let us go to the rental housing overview. If you see the vacant housing stock, the paradox is that we have a housing shortage of almost 1.9 crore units coexisting with 1 crore vacant homes as of now. These are statistics based on figures which have been given by all the research agencies. So I would say that this is not a market failure of distribution. This is obviously a market failure of distribution and not just supply. Supply is there, but somehow maybe the distribution has not been well thought. And if we were to speak about Maharashtra, the situation is even acute. We have almost 2.1 million vacant homes. And nearly 44% of this dormant stock is concentrated right here in the Mumbai metropolitan region. Now, this is both an opportunity and also a challenge, combined with the fact that it's a concern which all of us will have to address. Now, if we were to, these are the figures, you're aware that the rapid urbanization and there's almost 1.8 crore slums, very high vacancy rate, and there's no reason to really spell out the reason as to why we need a rental housing policy. Though we have had very landmark schemes like JNURM, RAY, PMAY, Urban is there, but somehow this gap has never been thought of, and the rental housing market, which is essential first off for millions of migrants, students and young professionals, is still informal, insecure, and most importantly, inaccessible. So these are the three words which I would like everyone to focus upon. And this really brings on to the issue that why do we need a Maharashtra rental housing policy? Now the imbalance that was there, it demonstrates very clearly that there is an administrative and economic need for a structured rental housing policy, A. Secondly, is that if we were to address the urban housing shortages and reduce pressure on the slums, which in any case, in spite of all the slum schemes, is continuously growing, then this is one of the viable alternative. Secondly, if we were to ensure affordable housing options for students, for migrants, for laborers, for the women, working women, and the various categories, and especially the economically weaker section who can't own a house of their own when they start their life or their career or when they move into the city, it makes it even more important. And one element which is, I would say, very important, especially for the government aspect, is that we ourselves are sitting on a lot of unsold inventory. Like for example, MHADA itself has so much of unsold inventory, which, and maybe CITCO is there, many corporations. Saurav could not come today because he had some election-related duty. So like our focus has always been unsold inventory, you sell it. Now, obviously, there's a depreciation, there's no market for it, or whatever be the reason. The prices are high, maybe, or in the market, somehow, the private sector is offering a better option. And because we don't have a rental policy, we somehow are still stuck on to that same thing, 8 years, 10 years, and still we want to sell off the property. Now, this slide in itself, I'll not go into the points mentioned in the slide. I would request you to read it. That these are the reasons as to why we need a rental housing policy in the state of Maharashtra, and not only here, but in the country. Now, while doing so, we have studied a lot of the housing policies of either this Brazil or Singapore, or in the Indian context, we have studied the concept in the US, the European countries, and various other worldwide patterns, after which we have made our suggestions. And if you see the overall trend which is prevailing in the world right now, is that rental housing has been the focus area. And then later on, converting the rental housing into ownership in the various formats, which I will elaborate upon, has been the catch line as to how we are to ensure ownership later on through rental housing, which provides accommodation which is legal. Now, we are moving away from across the world, we are moving away from the rigid control acts towards modern tenancy laws and all the balance, but somehow in our country or in our state, I'm sorry to say that the situation still remains a little dim. Now, this is a slide which just speaks about what is the vacancy rate, the legal regulations, the financial incentive penalties, infrastructure, special this. So we have basically, as I said, that we have studied the worldwide pattern, Hiranandani sir, and that is, keeping that in mind, we have made this. And like the Singapore's highly successful public rental schemes and the HDB framework is well known. Or the UK's financial penalties like steep council taxes on empty homes to push them back into the market. These are some of the good examples that need to be emulated. Now, do I press it again for this? Okay. Now, if we were to the urban housing gridlock, the challenges, so this, again, the slide, this is just a representation of what is the situation in Maharashtra and the state. So this slide illustrates the gridlock in our current dispute resolution system. In a normal case, any dispute which arises in a rental leasing out, the case takes 5 to 15 years, and this paralyzes the market, discourages formal contracts, and puts both tenants and the owners at a significant risk. Now, if you see Mumbai's example, 67% of the cases, this is as per the records and as per the documentation, drag beyond 5 years, and only 10% cases have been resolved in the last or within 2 years. And 8% cases take almost 2 to 3 years. So if this is the scenario, then obviously it makes it very difficult for the people who want to really put their housing stock into the rental domain to take a positive stand in that regard. Now these are the statistics which are there, how many affected and so on. I'll not go into that, you can read the slide. Now the policy objective and principles, if I were to say, is to build a resilient, inclusive ecosystem, including safe, affordable housing for all, especially variable groups, supporting urban renewal and sustainable growth. And the core principle in this which has been considered is the affordability, the transparency and the accessibility, obviously keeping in mind inclusivity, which is the key word for this segment. Now, some of the points which have been highlighted, which we have studied and we have said is that, the rental stock should be increased, the rental housing should be used as a tool for urban renewal, align the policy with the national housing framework, ensure equity and equal access, and build a robust institution and regulatory framework if we were to achieve this. Now, the coverage of the rental housing policy, this is just a brief that what are the points that have been covered in the Act or the rules, the legal and the regulatory framework, the geographic coverage, the financing and investment support, affordability measures, tenure security and the legal protection, land and infrastructure support, rental housing portal, this is very important, I'll elaborate on that a little later, and priority-wise allocation of the target groups. So, this portal is going to be a central point for contact of all stakeholders when this comes forth in a formal and a legal way. Now, what is the range of the rental housing? There's a short-term rental housing, which is basically for 1 or 6 months of stay, and which includes dormitories, hostels, service apartments, and so on, and offers a flexible and an affording shelter. The medium term, which is for almost 36 months, like almost we have kept it for 3 years, is for transitional housing, also keeping in mind the project affected persons. And the long-term rental is for families and professionals fully integrated into a mixed use and well-serviced development. So these are the three framework in which the rental housing policy would be structured. Now, this is very important. When we say rental housing, it's not rental housing in general as such. Obviously, the sky's the limit, but the focus area in that would be the working woman or the students, the industrial workers, the housing for the medical professionals and patients, for senior citizens, for tourists. But this is a part of the tourism policy which has been passed by the state. Disaster affected people. Now, there's nothing right now which we have for the disaster affected people. Something happens, they are left to their own. Then PAPs, for all the projects that is taken up either by BMC or MMRDA, SIDCO, MHADA, the corporations. And obviously rental housing for the lower income group, which is primarily EWS, LIG. And last but not the least is rental housing for the homeless. Now, if you recollect, the Supreme Court had passed orders in which they had said that the shelter homes should be created by all municipal corporations for the homeless people. Somehow the experience of that has been that shelter home became a den of all illicit or illegal activities, and I don't want to elaborate on that. So maybe we make it a little structured, whereby the KYC is done and who's staying there and the credentials are kept on record. To some extent, maybe we will be able to counter this menace. Now, the implementation mechanism is basically adaptive reuse and refurbishment, which again, as I said, converting the existing stock of either MHADA, SIDCO or the other corporations. Secondly is the retrofit the existing public structures to meet transitional housing standards. So in this, the implementation is two stage. In first stage is obviously we create more stock, and the second stage is whereby it is here where the private players and the private developers come into picture, is that we provide incentives to the private developers who would like to go in for creation of a rental housing stock, so that it becomes something like a PPP model or a public-private model. And obviously technology has to be kept in mind for ensuring a fast construction, and also to see that this the primary model is, as I said, either the private sector is doing it on its own, or there is a PPP or a hybrid model with the support of NGOs or certain institutions which would like to come forth in this regard. Now, the operation and maintenance part is also something which is very important as far as the rental housing of the government agencies are concerned. That has been considered. And even for the private developers, they will have to see to it, because you're not leasing it out, you're not selling it out. What would be the O&M component, in the sense ki how do you ensure that this is maintained? Now, these are the suggestions which have been sent in writing to the government of Maharashtra. It is under consideration, and maybe, as I said, after the deliberations with the Honorable Chief Minister and the others, it would see the light of the day. So what we have suggested is that anyone who's going for a private rental housing in the private sector, they should be offered an additional FSI over and above the existing FSI, which should be free of cost. So for Mumbai, we have suggested 0.5 FSI, and for MMR region, we have said 0.3 FSI. Secondly is that the development charges, because we had a deliberation and there are certain provisions in which the development charges can't be waived because of certain MRTP or the DCPR. So we have said that you reduce the development charges for 50% to 50%, and whatever is the development charges that even you take, BMC or anyone takes, the local body, that should come back to the society as a corpus, that rental building, so that the maintenance part is slightly taken care of. Now, third is slightly, I am not very sure how well it will be taken by the urban local bodies, but they will have to think over it, is that where we have said that there should be a property tax waiver, full exemption for the first 5 years, and later on 50% for the next 5 years. Now, added to that is the stamp duty and the GST. Now, if you see this, it says state GST. My recommendation was for both state and central, confined to only rental housing. And I'm very happy to say that last week there was a workshop conference held at Delhi by Government of India Housing Department and the Urban Development Department. And they also sounded the same things: GST relaxation, stamp duty, and most importantly, income tax, on which I'll come right now. Now, this is a very major suggestion given, that if any private institution developer is going in for a rental housing, because his capital is getting stuck in it, the income that comes from the rent should be exempted for the first 10 years. 100% exemption of only the rental income that you receive. And as I said, even Government of India is thinking on these lines. The accelerated depreciation benefits, which all of you are aware of, should be made available for capital investment in the rental housing projects. And the last point in this regard is also that for the financial institution lending, there should be a lending policy whereby which for rental housing maybe 6%, similarly to what we have in the PMAY Urban 1, or like in 2.0, it's not there, the CLSS part, the credit linked subsidy scheme. So these are the major suggestions that have been given. Now, that apart, as I said, that if this is done, okay. Now, I don't know if yeah. Now, other recommendations is that, that there are lands lying either with the revenue department or the other departments, and maybe there could be a long-term lease model. Like supposedly the land is provided by the government, and the private developer wants to, do a rental housing. So how can that be a lease model made? Now, I'll just go to the 2 points which are very important here. I have already covered the tenements part, and I've covered inclusive housing. Now, as you're aware that as per the provisions in the UDCPR 8.3.2, and even in the DCPR, but in DCPR Mumbai, the inclusive housing which comes for the projects which are more than 4,000 square meters, that housing stock goes to the MCGM for PAPs. In the other corporation areas where the population is more than 10 lakhs, for any housing project above 4,000 square meter, that 20% has to be given either in the form of plots or houses as a part of the inclusive housing. Now, typically, over the years, what we have been doing is inclusive housing, whatever stock comes, that goes into sale through lottery, in which 124%, 1% goes. So now we are suggesting is that we should make some rules that some part of the inclusive housing which is received as a part of the 20% should be converted into rental housing component. Now, we have also suggested a buyback mechanism. Now, the buyback mechanism basically means if you see the Western models, whereby you buy a property, then you pay the EMI, it is on mortgage. If the person who's been staying there for 5 years, there was a deliberation that we should make it 10 years, but then finally we said that let it be 5 years. After 5 years, if he or she wants to buy that property, that option should be there. And we have also, given a formula as to how the valuation should be worked out. The gist of that is, like the value ready reckoner minus depreciation. For the private sector, the rent that is accrued or earned will not be deducted. But when it comes to the government, any government organization, the rent that we have earned will be deducted from the price of the housing, because that's an income which we have already taken. And we have also given something which I say, it's not mentioned here, but we have given also an exit scope or an exit policy for the developer himself. Say after 10 years, the developer feels that enough, ho gaya, bahut ho gaya rent, now on an as it is basis, maybe with some refurbishing or repairs or whatever has to be done, I would like to bring this housing stock into the open market for sale at whatever price he or she feels good enough. Then that exit option is also given to the developer. As I said, buyback for the buyer, for the people staying on rent, and exit for the developer. Now, we do appreciate and we do understand that if we are going to make it in a centralized format, there will be a lot of legalities pertaining to eviction and this. So this is just a slide which represents that the detailing of that how the structuring will be, the competent authority. We have had discussion with the judges, we've had discussions with the appellant and the tribunal, and based on their suggestions, this all legal aspects has been incorporated. Now, this is obviously the role of the various, it's not going to be only MHADA, even if we are the nodal agency, the other ULBs, the housing department, the urban department, and the whatever zoning change, the planning department. So everyone, what is the role of each and everyone is going to be there. Now, this is a very important aspect. We are suggested that there will be a rental housing portal. Yesterday only we have floated an RFP for the structuring of that. The rental housing portal is basically the most critical component and the digital backbone of this whole policy. Now, as you can see in this slide, this is, like the reasons as to why the objectives are for this rental portal. And as I said, it's mentioned that the RFP has been published. I don't want to go into this. Now, in a gist, if I were to mention, all the housing stock which will be coming in the rental market domain, whether it is of the government, whether it is of the ULB, whether it is of the private sector, will be put on this rental housing portal with all the details. So if you see, like, they will be having this digital days, promote transparency, and most importantly, anyone who's taking it has to go through the KYC, e-KYC, which is through the DigiLocker and the various this mentioned. Now, there'll be, as I said, the internal government portal, the property listing, the builder multi-listing, verified property consultant, blah, blah, blah. So, in a nutshell, this would make a legal, a regulatory framework to ensure that it is not that anyone is left in the lurch. See, today the biggest problem in Mumbai or any other city is that, in fact, yesterday I had a discussion for almost 1 hour with Tuhin Parekh, like Blackstone and Anuj Puri, Anrock. So what they were saying was that for the high-end segment, there is no dearth of apartments for being put on the rent or being available. But what I was just trying to say to them, and this is what we felt, was that even today I feel the structure is very informal. There are some portals who are trying to get this buyer, the renter, the one who wants to take on rent and the person who wants to put it on rent, but it is not institutional. The system should be like this, that supposedly I am coming to Mumbai from Lucknow. When I say Mumbai, obviously I'm talking about the other cities also. And I'm coming for 6 months, or I'm coming for 1 year. Based on my capacity to pay the rent, I should have the option, seeing that, okay, fine, I have this of 5,000 rupees or 10,000 rupees, or in the higher element, I want to pay 50,000, 1 lakh, whatever be it. कौन सा एरिया में मेरा प्रेफरेंस है, वहाँ पे कौन सा हाउस घर है जो यहाँ पे रेंट पे उस प्राइस पे मिल सकती है. ये जो मैकेनिज्म है, ये मैकेनिज्म करना है. एंड आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू से दैट ऑलरेडी एन इंटीग्रेटेड स्टेट हाउसिंग पोर्टल is being made, whereby all the agencies, SRA, CITCO, MHADA, MMRDA, all the ULBs will be coming on a single platform on that. So that should be like live within the next 3 months. We are working on it. But this portal is going to be a game changer, and these are the the key features of the rental housing portal. If you just read it through, it is a property discovery and access with and everything has been elaborated. Like I am just giving a screenshot of what we are doing. The security and the verification has also been a very important component. The tenant experiences and services, the payment and the grievance redressal, and the internal government portal, which is going to be there. So, if I were to just put it as a concluding statement for this particular slide, it is going to be a verified property discovery. There will be a digital eKYC and an online agreement generation. There will be a secured payment gateway for rent and deposits, and a tenant dashboard for managing maintenance requests and renewals. These are the main features of the portal. And if you see this slide, like how we are saying that the integration part will be taken care of, so verification with Aadhaar, social media handle, this gateway and all. We have also had discussions with certain insurance companies whereby we can obviously make up a model whereby the rent that is to be paid, some insurance is paid by the government, and where in cases of defaulters, that can be taken up from the insurance company on the basis of whatever is the installment that is paid, and police verification and all that. Now, most importantly, there is one concern which is very, I would say, genuine. If you see the prevailing rules, the acts, whether it's the tenancy laws or whatever be it, in case of a defaulter, or in case where the person who's been given the house on rent needs to be evicted, the onus is on the person who lent the property, whether it is government or whether it is the private agency to do that. So here we have put a reversal. The onus will be on the person who's staying there. They have to go to the legal authorities or the court or whatever structure will be there to prove as to why that eviction notice or the whatever has been given to him for non-payment of rent should not be implemented. So this is a major change that has been suggested. Now, before I say thank you, the purpose of today's consultation is obviously, as I said, that we are being appointed as a nodal agency, but I personally feel that till all the stakeholders are not brought on board and till everyone does not give their suggestions, inputs, we have given a feedback form. There's a QR code also given in that. It's a very simple form. What I would request is that maybe once you go from here, you can just go through it, put your team at job. And if there are any suggestions, any amendments, anything, it could be anything. If you were to suggest anything, please do so. I'll not take this forum to divulge into what we are doing in the housing or what we are doing through MHADA, but I'll just end my my introductory remarks on the note that in the last 2 years, I'm very happy to say that under the guidance of the Honorable Chief Minister and our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister is also the Housing Minister and previously was the Chief Minister, there has been a paradigm shift. And the paradigm shift has been that we have now, as MHADA is concerned, we have now gone into the cluster mode of redevelopment. And as I speak today, in fact, I said this officially on records when I was at London around 10 days back, that almost 1,000 acres, which is 40 lakh square meter of land, is going on the redevelopment through cluster alone. Some of the players who are here, there, and not here, they have really shown a lot of interest in cluster. And one of the major changes that we have done is 33.5 on a cluster approach, and where 33.5 is not viable, I'm talking this about the 114 layouts under the Mumbai board, they're adopting a 33.9, even if that entails or means it's a premium loss to MHADA. So that incentive scheme. Now, for on a trial basis, Mr. Shambhakar is here. So we, till now, the CES buildings redevelopment was entirely on 33.7, and in few cases where clubbing was done, it was to go for 33.9. Now, for the first time in the prime pockets, whether it is Dadar, Prabhadevi, Mahim, or even in the Fort Crescent area and some other areas, we ourselves have suggested or sent proposals for approval of 33.7 on a cluster mode of 33.9, irrespective of the fact whether the land belongs to private, government, MHADA, BMC, or any other authority. Now, to quote an example, you see there has been a very landmark judgment which took place almost around 8 months back. And this pertains to the GTB Nagar, which is popularly known as the Punjabi and Sindhi colony at Sion. It was the private land. And what was contested was that even if the cabinet passed that resolution saying that on a private land, C&D is to be implemented, where MHADA is going to be the C&D agency, and then obviously appoint a developer. The main challenge point was that on a private land, can MHADA be a special planning authority? And I'm very happy to say that the Honorable Supreme Court gave a landmark judgment saying yes. If the consent of the society or the residents is there, MHADA can be a SPA planning authority even for private land. Yesterday, another landmark decision was taken in the cabinet, and that was pertaining to layouts above 20 acres to go on a cluster mode. Now, apart from the features which are there, which has been already spelled out in the C&D model for either Motilal Nagar or Abhyuday Nagar or Adarsh Nagar, Reclamation, SVP Nagar, you just name it. One of the important points or one of the important things which has been passed by the cabinet yesterday is that whereby a PPP model has also been accepted in the cluster policy. Now what that means? And the suggestion was that supposedly, obviously I speak about MHADA, so I'll say only for MHADA, but for CITCO also a certain cluster policy has been made. For SRA, around 10 days back, a cluster policy has been made. But the basic element in the cluster policy is that supposedly there's a layout or a part of the layout which is MHADA or government owned. And adjacent to that, there is a private land. Now, till now, there was no mechanism that how, because the private land would either go for 33.5 on a regular, 33.7 or 33.9, depending upon the feasibility. So now, for the first time, MHADA land, and if there's a private land, and if the private land, whoever's staying there, give their consent, the landowners give their consent, or the residents give their consent, there can be a merger of both, whereby the MHADA component can be undertaken under 33.5, the private component can be undertaken under 33.9, and if the feasibility is not there in terms of the financial viability, then even the MHADA land can be taken on 33.9. So basically the government is also very focused. I don't want to take this platform to speak about the affordable housing component. We have already spoken a lot about it. Hiranandani sir and a lot of you have been very vocal on the social media as to how 35% to 40% price reduction as on date can be made if we were to make certain policy changes, whether it pertains to premium, whether it pertains to development charges, whether it pertains to metro cess, whether it pertains to stamp duty, whether it pertains to GST. Again, the issue of GST, OC later and before OC agreement, and then again the rehab component, the definition of affordable housing, the size of the tenements, the financial limitations and so on. So I don't want to go that, but yes, I've been very vocal on all the platforms. And I repeat again, I've been very vocal that I personally feel as VP MHADA that government should seriously consider the proposal that we have given. And my personal view is that if we were to bring down these deductions or these concessions in the various forms that we have mentioned, definitely the housing price, at least for the affordable housing component, can come down easily by 25%, if not more. And if that is to happen, your affordability index, which has come down from 51 to 48, that's a good sign, can come down below 30, which is the desired, the benchmark as on date. So I would request all the associations, you're all stalwarts. You people have great connects. Like maybe like I speak here, and what I spoke must have been passed on somewhere. And your accessibility is much higher than us. We're talking about inclusivity, we are talking about accessibility, we are talking about transparency, we are talking about dominance. No dominance, sorry. But please use your organization to push this. But before concluding, I would just mention what is the concern of the Honorable Chief Minister. I recollect the meeting in which everyone was there, I don't want to take names, and where I was pushing left and right for all the policy changes which I have recommended for 33.5, 33.7, 33.9, 33.24, 33.10, UDCPR 7.4, UDCPR 8.3.2, and so on, with the recommendations of how to bring down the prices for affordable housing and obviously to push rental housing. The Honorable Chief Minister had only two concerns. And I would like to end my introductory presentation on this. His concern was that, I'm not quoting him, but yes, this is what he said, that our experience has been that whenever we have reduced premiums or whenever we have given any concession, that is not passed on to the customer. So supposedly, let's take a hypothetical situation that during the COVID time, 50% and again a 50% for whom it was done, why it was done. I don't want to go into all that aspects. It can get controversial. But wherever it is done, the point that he has is that how do you ensure that चलो ठीक है 20% हमने आपका सब डेवलपमेंट चार्जेस, मेट्रो सेस, आपका GST, स्टैम्प ड्यूटी, प्रीमियम्स सब कमा दिया. It has a value. Today the loading factor is more than 40% on all these components. Now supposedly government says कि 50% हम इसका concession करते हैं. In what form, how form, that is separate. How will you as a sector ensure that it passes on to the customer? There is something called a demand-supply equilibrium. I do understand. And being a student of economics, I know that. But this does not happen. This is his number one concern. And some concern raised by people around him was that they're talking about so much of opening up of land. How do we ensure that the environmental issues or the green cover is sustained? So that is more on the socio-environmental aspect. But I would like, you all, MCHI, CREDAI, NAREDCO, all our stalwarts here, there, to give me a concrete in writing. I request in concrete writing, which I can convince to the Honorable Chief Minister and others that, sir, your concern was this, and the written solution to that is that if this is done, this will be the mechanism by which this will be passed on to the customer. Now, these were all the good side, the one element which I personally feel which has to be a matter of concern in the coming years is that you see, like, as I said, 1,000 acres, 40 lakh square meter, only of MHADA is going into redevelopment. You can imagine the free sale FSI which is going to be available, apart from the rehab part. We as a housing organization is going to get almost 10 lakh square meters of built up tenements. 10 lakh square meters of built up tenements. So you can, if you divide it by 500, you can imagine how much is the houses that is going to come. Individually, Motilal Nagar itself is 3.5 lakh. Abhyuday Nagar is 80,000. Kamatipura is 50,000. So like these are examples. GTB is, I think, 48,000? 45. Abhyuday Nagar is also the same way. Bandra Reclamation, Adarsh Nagar, SVP Nagar, Bharat Nagar has been opened up right now, which is going to the cabinet. Now, I do understand that with such a high element of housing stock coming in the market and already having the issue of unsold tenements, maybe to some extent the pricing will have to fall. This is the right time. This is the right time to go to the government and press your point that if such a high element of housing stock is coming in the market, and if we were to ensure that it doesn't remain in an unsold inventory, or the dynamics is such that selling out the whole free FSI would take not less than 10 to 15 years, which spoils the whole IRR calculation, then please do this. And we promise that if this is done, then we will ensure through A1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that this is how it will pass on to the customer. So with that note, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you everyone for hearing me out. And I am hopeful that this conference is going to give a very good inputs for the coming days. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra.
Thank you very much, Jaiswal sir. Now I request Mr. Niranjan Hiranandani, co-founder and MD of Hiranandani Group, to give his valuable inputs. Thank you, sir.
Very good morning, sir. It's a privilege to be invited over here on behalf of, as representing NAREDCO. I just want to share, first of all, the magic that Mr. Sanjeev Jaiswal did I saw many years ago in Thane. He came there and there was zero infrastructure over there, and there was nothing to stop the government at that time under his leadership to make that paradigm happen. The second magic that we have seen is in MHADA, that now that all the changes and rapid redevelopment that is taking place in Mumbai. And third, today, that cluster development announcement which is there. I think that is a big magic which has been done. So that's another one which is there. And now the fourth one, which is the affordable rental housing which we are doing. So my heartiest congratulations, sir, to you, to MHADA, and all the officers who are over here on behalf of the government. If this policy was there in 1950, there would be no Zopatpatti in Mumbai. So you're actually solving an issue for the future also by creating affordable housing. I'm not going to repeat what Mr. Jaiswal said, because I think the policy, the framework, the implementation, the thought process, the concessions required are imperative. So I'm going to only add on a couple of points which I think can be added on to what Mr. Jaiswal said. And just because I'm not repeating what he said, we should not undermine the statements that we have. The affordable housing segment requires to be of different types of affordable housing. So when you make a policy, don't look at the lowest common denominator alone. There are various types. There is the affordable housing. There is the serviced housing. There is a co-living which is required. There is a student's hostel which will be required. There will be construction workers which will be required. There is industrial workers housing which will be required. IT and tech community housing, which is mobile amongst the whole country, they will require. And long-term transit housing which is required. Now these are the different types of housing, and if you look at only one segment, then the policy may not be able to cover it all. We need to identify the needs of each these sub-segments. Because Maharashtra had not done that, Bangalore, Hyderabad, NCR overtook Mumbai in terms of the IT race that happened in the country. So when we are doing this, we are actually going to compensate what mistake we made in the past and allowed other centers to go ahead of Maharashtra. So I think it's extremely important and imperative. Couple of additions that I would like to do, sir. One is charitable trusts. In the good old days, a large number of chawls in Mumbai, housing, small, big and others, including many buildings on Marine Drive, were built by charitable trusts and given on rent. If the Charitable Trust Act can be amended, rental housing for all segments can be done. I promise you, we would be able to get at least 5 to 10,000 crores of rupees into rental housing of all types, not only the affordable segment.
What exactly has to be amended?
The amendment part of it is that is also like education, medical health and others. You have to amend it and say that rental housing will also be a part of the job of charitable trust. So it will be a single line amendment so that rental housing created will be a part of the whole thing which is there. Schools and colleges and others would be very happy to create students' rental housing. I run 14 colleges and 6 schools. We would be very happy if some sort of clarification could be issued in this reason to do that. And why I'm asking for these clarifications, because you will say generally it's available in the law, but it's not so. When we go into micro detail, we find a lot of problems. I'll give you an example. I ran a canteen in KC College for 30 years. 6 months ago, it was demolished because they say it doesn't fit into the regulation. And now when I'm going for an approval, they say you can't approve it in the place where it was running for 30 years. So these clarifications are required not because we cannot do the things within the existing rules, but you need to further clarify, even though you say it fits in the rules, some officer comes after 10 years and he says, नहीं, जो भी तुमने 30 साल पहले किया, वो गलत था. Because he knows better about the interpretation of the rules. So we need these clarifications for that reason, not because we don't understand the law as it stands today. So we cannot allow misinterpretation in these segments. Just to give you an idea, sir, in the United States of America, the richest country in the world, 50% people live in rental housing. So there is the policy with that we are now bringing about is the only solace that we will possibly have. You can't have affordable housing for everybody in the country on ownership basis. This is recognized in every country of the world, including the Western countries which are very rich. So the policy is there for. Another part of it is CSR. I do CSR, all corporates do CSR. If we could put and get an amendment done that of creating and investing into rental housing for the next 10 years could also be a part of the CSR of our company, I will do CSR, and I promise you that not only the people sitting here, I would be able to get corporates right from Reliance to HDFC to banks, financial institutions. There is no dearth of money which is available. It is a dearth of vision and execution of policy, not the policy alone, but to see that we execute a policy, not talk about the policy, because we need much more walking on the top. Corporates which are there in Mumbai and other countries used to provide housing for their employees. The government of Maharashtra and central government also provides that. I think we need to clarify that any corporate entity which provides housing for the purposes of their employees would be entitled to XYZ benefits, and I'm not only talking FSI, but various other benefits could be given. I think that is possible for the purposes of corporate entities, sir, to also do it. The government of India, in the last financial budget, the other one, have given special benefits for industrial housing. If those points can be taken and incorporated in different ways within our policy, sir, I think it will be extremely important. Sir, we are talking about 0.5 FSI additional in here, and in the MMR 0.3. It should be reverse. You should create more and more rental housing everywhere. This reduction is not correct. You provide 0.5 here, provide 0.5 there. If you're providing 0.3 here, please provide 0.5 there. Because newer areas have a better scope for doing it at a lower cost. If you try to do it in the island centers, the cost is higher. So my request, sir, is whatever is the, if you're giving 0.1, it's fine. Or you're giving 2.5, I don't care. But please don't make it less there and more here. It should be, in fact, more there and less here. Because the pricing of those issues in that area, or whatever it is, will also be a possibility over there. The overall calculation of comparison, when you talk about Brookfield and Blackstone and other people who have invested, they put in a lot of money into corporate commercial housing because they look at a return of about 8%. If we could work this out in such a way that that kind of return is giving, they will put even into the affordable segment or unaffordable segment. They will put in any segment and they will put $1 billion on day one. So we need to do a calculation. We can sit with you, sir, and work out that calculation. We can give it to you, and I promise you, they will come to your office, not you having to call them to your office. Because they are hungry to invest into long-term rental housing, and there's no dearth of money. It's the dearth of how we have a policy, but how we execute the policy is a bigger problem than actually having a good policy. Sir, I promise you, if this policy comes, we will beat Bangalore, we will beat Chennai, we will beat NCR, and Maharashtra and Mumbai will be the leading part of it and all that which is there. Sir, one of the ideas which has been there in Maharashtra, the tourism policy which has now come in is a better policy, and a large number of points are there in that policy, including GST, and it has been already done and implementation is taking place, which is looking like a very successful and positive oriented policy. So some of the points in that policy could also be, sir, incorporated into the whole thing. Sir, when we are talking about affordable housing, food and entertainment is equally important. You can't have the cities devoid of that kind of activity. Every center in Bangalore, in Chennai, in NCR is flood of these places. You got to take away that for opening a restaurant in Maharashtra and Mumbai, you need 40 permissions. I think somewhere down the line, if you go to any city in the world, you need 1 permission. Now here we require 40 permissions to open a restaurant. What kind of ease of doing business is this? I think if you want to create rental housing and you want to draw people back, I think I'm not in the food and restaurant business, just to clarify. So I'm in the real estate business. But just to tell you that I think some change needs to be done where I think, sir, we need to do on these issues. You have already mentioned, sir, about the transaction cost Mumbai. There is something called the ready reckoner rate. If I sell affordable housing or anything at a lower rate than your ready reckoner rate, then my income tax department will raid me and penalize me for selling it at a lower price. So just check the ready reckoner rate. You can't sell in 90% of Mumbai at a lower rate than the ready reckoner rate. You forget the 5 transactions with 1 lakh of rupees and 1.5. I'm looking at 97% of the business of Mumbai. The ready reckoner rate is so high, there's no question of doing it. So the peripheral areas also, sir, we need to encourage besides the city limits into the whole thing. Sir, I want to congratulate you. This policy will be a huge change for Mumbai. Your future of housing, both affordable and the other segments, will be benefited. I think the builders, developers should be encouraged also to do it. State government should do it. Government agencies can do it. Other things can do it. Industrialists can do it. Banks and financial institutions can do it. If we make a policy in such a manner that each and every one of them is encouraged to do that and give them some idea of what we can possibly do, I think this paradigm will create a new Maharashtra for sure. And I promise you, sir, that affordability will be better and we will get more students coming here in Maharashtra to study, because otherwise my colleges are the best, but they don't come to my colleges from out of Mumbai or out of India because my hostel cost and my residential cost is 3 times that of Bangalore or any other locations of that kind. So we need to look at these policies from sectoral ideas also, besides just talking affordable housing as a general take. If we take these 10 components which are there, sir, I think we will be benefited because the different components require slight different modifications and support, sir. That's my suggestion, sir. But what you have put on the paper, I have not repeated because you have written so many items which are there, including the portal and other things which are fantastic. I don't want to compliment you on all the 50 points that you mentioned, sir. But thank you very much, sir, and very grateful for giving me an opportunity to speak this morning, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think Hiranandani sir, as usual, you know, that's the reason why people call him the mentor and the godfather of this sector. Amitabh Bachchan. He still looks like better than Amitabh Bachchan, so I didn't want to compare him to Amitabh Bachchan. But I think the points that he has raised is very valid, especially the amendments that need to be made in the Charity Act and even for the corporate issues. And, you know, I was really surprised that the incident that he mentioned, that there was a canteen running there and for some reason it was demolished, and then again 30 years. So I you know, like being on this side of the government, obviously I can't really open out my heart in this regard, but I've been very vocal many a times. But I do promise you that the points that you have raised, in fact, that's what I was speaking to Baman, that maybe if it is slightly, we will also study it, we have recorded everything. If in a slightly structured way, which amendment, whatever is there, is made. And the CSR element which you mentioned, that if that is allowed, then a lot of people would come forth either in the...
But it has to be clarified.
I know.
Because otherwise after 5 years, somebody...
Some audit objection, yeah. So all these points will be taken into consideration, and I'm really thankful to you that as usual, you always make me learn much more than what I feel I already know. Let me tell a truth today, and I admit it in a public forum. So when I came as Thane Municipal Commissioner, apart from whatever happened in the initial part, so I had no clue. I had been a municipal commissioner in Nagpur. I had charge of Aurangabad for some time. I had no clue about all these high-rise buildings and exactly how it is made and how are the the construction or the technical aspects taken care of in terms of wind, this, that. So Sav used to always come and like he has always been so handsome and so elegant with a lovely tie and a matching shirt. And then I just requested him that let's go to your Hiranandani estate project, and he took me to towers, explained to me things. And he was the first man who gave me an insight, in spite of being the municipal commissioner. The tragedy was that, being a municipal commissioner, I could not be publicly seen that, I don't understand all these concepts. And he was the first man who really taught me into this building and, how you can construct fast. I'll give another example. The biggest MOU which was done with TCS, Tata Consultancy. So TCS decided to get everything of their operations in a centralized place. And I remember Chandrasekhar had come and he took a big challenge. He said 1.8 million square feet is the area that we will build and construct and give to you. And then he came to me and said that कि 1.8 million करना है and I promised कि 2 साल के अंदर ये मान के देने का है. तो I was also amazed. हमने कहा कि कॉर्पोरेशन में 2 साल में तो 6 महीना हम ही खा लेते हैं परमिशन देने के लिए. तो he said कि सर ये काम करते हैं, इस पे थोड़ा सा कुछ टाइप टाइट करें, but then they will also feel assured. And as as legacy proves, they completed the construction before 2 years. The Honorable Chief Minister, 18 months, I know, 18 months, the Honorable Chief Minister then, Devendra Fadnavis ji, he himself came for the inauguration, Mr. Chandrasekhar was there. And not only that, in my tenure itself, they took a sanction of another 1.1 million square feet. And I'm told later on also they have taken an additional area over there. So, this speaks of the scale and this which they work in. So, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. As usual, yeah, I know you have to leave. So, thank you for coming and it was always a pleasure. Thank you, sir. I would request Kailash Shinde, Municipal Commissioner, Navi Mumbai. A short one, please. Parag, why don't you come up? Come. Come up. The chair is vacant for you. Come.
The nation wants you up there.
Arey, aa jao, Parag bhai, aa jao. Come.
Sir, very good afternoon, sir. And very well laid down blueprint, I can say, for the rental housing. This is the most needed and most required for the entire state and especially to the MMR. If you look at the MMR and entire scenario, so we are lacking. When we came for study here also, sir, if our college could not have provided us the hostel facility, we could not have studied into the Mumbai also. And that is the case with many students and aspiring parents. They wish to send their child to the Mumbai or other places, but they don't have enough affordable rental premises. Which the other parts are where I am also looking at into the Sitco and the Navi Mumbai area. Sir, with these UDCPR, the FSI component has been much more relaxed. Like in Mumbai has its own DCR, but the other part of the state has an unified DCR rules now that has come into the implementation in 2020 and now has been across settled interfaces. So clustering is also been promoted under 14.8 and 7.6 where the private development and to the housing society, they can come and have the clustering also there. It is like what you have said to the MHADA. The MHADA has almost 10,000 100-acre land is being going for these and almost 10 million square feet area is being generated through all these numbers. I will not go into the numbers now. Square tenement will come to the MHADA. So, if this is the kind of housing stock, square meter. So that is the kind of housing stock will be generated. Certainly, the expectation of the government and the people of the country and to the state, especially to the MMR, will certainly be fulfilled, sir. Sir, I will quickly go to the points because when I worked into Sitco, sir, the right point you have pointed out, there are many unsold inventory which is lying into the Sitco also and with the other places also where they are doing the housing. But there is no clear policy where we could lend out these people. Sir, this will certainly clear the stock and we can provide an affordable housing to the people. Secondly, sir, when we look at the one point you have mentioned about the urban local bodies has to do away with the property tax for 5 years and there's 50%. That can be achievable, sir, not into the exemption, but there are certain categories. So charitable trust, they get a different kind of property tax. And to the rental and the commercial, you can, certainly government can think on that and they can have a lower rate of tax onto the property tax. So that will also promote a good rental housing into the, that will create, act as an inputer, sir. Looking at the other concepts, sir, the land is very precious into the MMR, entire MMR. And if the private developer will come into this picture, they get some government land also, the corporation land also, the authorities land. And they can build a housing. If that model can be worked out, that policy can be into effect, that will certainly add a value to the corporation because they get, because we don't have any stock for a housing for this house. If we have to do some construction with the new Mumbai. So I have to rely on to the many other things also. So that will certainly create a housing stock for us. And for the PAP, housing for this house, that is in shelter homes. So many functions which municipal corporation has to do it, they can certainly help to the municipal corporation. So that that input, if you can add into into the policy, that will also help into the doing this, sir. Sir, looking at the entire Mumbai and Navi Mumbai, sir, they are now got connected. With the upcoming airport and operational of airport, the lot of demand for the housing into the Navi Mumbai has also come up, sir. So we are going for a clustering, but then comes to the cost onto the infrastructure because we have to widen the road and other things. And with the self-income, all this needs to be added. So there should be a self-sufficiency into the development charges, whatever may be the quantum that could be reduced. Or to the incentive FSI, the premium charges, which is 35% of the ASR today. If they can be lowered down, they should at least cover the cost of the infrastructure, which can be come that, sir. So
The point is that, like the experience is that even if you cut down on the development charges, the premium and other things, the number of proposals also double or triple.
Yeah.
So what happens ultimately is that the absolute revenue never falls.
Yeah.
It's always been seen whenever any concession is given. But your point is well taken. Ki definitely, I know that's the reason that the government also has a concern that itne sare khalcha ko laenge kahan se.
Yeah, sir. So when we manage the city, sir, that is the only income for the corporation, the property tax and to the development charges. And now the premium is one of the component which is coming into the corporation's kitty, sir. Sir, looking at the entire rental housing policy, if you look at the Mumbai, older Mumbai, lot of SEZ building and there the kind of structure was there. So everybody, the people came from the outside, they got settled here, they got the houses. But today we can't afford that kind of why that has been the shifting into the policy. But now either with the vision of the Honorable CM and the Honorable Deputy CMs, if this can be a reality with the support of all the private developer, because the private investment will be a key into the entire this housing, rental housing, making this as a possible and big success to the entire government vision. I can appeal to the, I'm appealing to the entire private developer also. They should also be part of, they should come forward and put their suggestions into in a comprehensive way. When the policy comes, then it will certainly help in drafting a better executable and implementable policy, because many times the policy comes, but we can't execute or not implement. It should be uniform to the each and everyone. And most importantly, the cost of the rental, that should also be affordable to the various classes, the woman, working woman, because we lacking, sir, the working woman hostel, there is hardly any facility into the bigger working woman hostels. So that will also certainly help into this. SIDCO, sir, doing a lot of housing into that. But again, we are our base is an economical weaker section or something like that. But selling those stock is a very is a challenge before us also, if that can be these things. And the housing size, sir, should be an affordable, livable houses. So at least 30 square kilometer, now we are talking about, if you can increase little bit, so they can afford a good livable houses also. Because the old houses, if you go like the 180 square feet or something like 15 square meter, 17 square meter, 18 square meter houses, now they are not the people can't live there, how the family can live there. So the size of the tenement is also a very important aspect into the entire rental housing, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kailash. And thank you, Kailash. I thought you would say about, you were going to open up some land in Navi Mumbai for the affordable housing. I was expecting that. And now with the feud that is going on between Navi Mumbai Corporation and CITCO, that, who's going to be where. So I'm sure that, taking certain inputs from here, if you could open up some land for construction of hostels or these aspects, I think it would be very good. Avinav is here, Kalyan Dombivili, but he requested me saying that, sir, I've just joined, I'm too young. And he said, I would like to hear more. So I'm sure that he will go back with a lot of inputs from today's event. And the same thing applies to you also, Avinav. So I would now request Baman to give his views and suggestions. And let's not make it formal. So, sir, words up, chhol do, abhi seedha come to the point. Rok thok.
ठीक है सर. तो पहले तो मैं कहूँगा थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर अलाउइंग मी टू स्पीक आउट हियर. मैंने एक पिक्चर देखी थी सिंघम, जिसमें कहा गया था, अजय देवगन बोलता है कि अगर मुंबई की पुलिस चाहे तो किसी मंदिर के बाहर से एक चप्पल भी चोरी ना हो. मेरा ये मानना है सर कि अगर गवर्नमेंट और माडा चाहे और ये सारे म्युनिसिपल कॉरपोरेशंस चाहे तो कोई एक आदमी सर पे छत ना हो, ऐसा उसकी परिस्थिति आए ही नहीं. और सर उससे ज्यादा मैं कहना चाहूंगा कि अगर आप डेवलपर्स को साथ में जोड़ दें तो ये काम जो आपका 5 या 10 ईयर का प्रोग्राम हो, शायद उससे कई जल्दी हम पूरा कर दें. कमिंग स्ट्रेट टू द पॉइंट, देयर आर टू थिंग्स सर दैट मेक हाउसिंग unaffordable, and whether it is rental or otherwise, is the cost of land and cost of approvals. We need to, and you mentioned a point where Honorable CM sir said that every time मैं reduction देता हूँ, it does not come back to the public. I think I should clarify, there's a lead lag effect, sir. आप अगर आज concession देते हो, तो the timeline in which the benefit can pass on to the consumer is almost about 2 years, because all developers would have paid the premiums for the stock that is already under construction. So expecting that to happen is a long term. And last time also, sir, we clarified that it was done when the reduction in premiums took place. I think for 2 years or 2.5 years, prices did not increase. So that itself, in terms of inflationary pressure, was not passed on to the people. Sir, if time-bound approvals are given, I think all the developer fraternity out here, and without variations thereof, sir, if without variations you get your approvals in a time-bound fashion, which like Niranjan Bhai also mentioned, that something that was acceptable earlier should be studied from rather than be decried, and we should move ahead. Sir, I think 2 or 3 issues which you raised with regards to, management of tenants, etc., how will that take place? I think you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Already banks are doing an excellent job, and through them there are lots of new startups that have come up that have got enough and more apps to take care of every aspect of your app development, give you a full-fledged, I would say, income statement over the next 5 years, collect and pass on the money to you, at the same point of time be able to manage all the costs of maintenance of the buildings, etc. You would not need to do anything more than basically provide the incentive to the developer to be able to provide you the affordable housing or the affordable rental housing. And sir, in that also the developer can help you. If you just gave us, I can give for example, when the mill lands were being sold, sir, instead of collecting money, instead of monetizing them by the government directly in terms of, monies to the government's coffers, if at that point of time the government would have said, why don't you give me so many houses? For instance, MMRDA time and again, is releasing lands. Why don't you change the paradigm and say that give us X number of square feet that would be belonging to MMRDA, or so you create perpetual income, you get higher valuation. Sir, don't mind my saying this, but all the money that sits in whether it is BMC, whether it is in MHADA, whether it is in SRA, is just sitting. And it is not earning the kind of return it would if that was converted to assets. And those assets were then leased out and put out to the public to kind of utilize. You do two things. You make commercial properties affordable, you'd make residential properties affordable, thereby rejuvenating the Mumbai landscape to be the land of dreams where everybody would come and want to set up their startups. I won't repeat a lot of the points, but I must say, a leader is only as good as his team, and the team is only as good as the leader. In this case, sir, you are the leader, we are the team. We, as in the developers, are the team, and we would like to state that it is heartwarming personally to me to see Mr. Jaiswal speak to his people, where he talks about what you and I both, or all of us developers, have been saying. Let us adhere to the spirit of the law. Let us not get stuck in the language of the law. And to that, sir, my heartiest congratulations. I have seen you live that paradigm, and I wish every one of us, including those that are part of your internal team, take note of that and do accordingly. Sir, lastly, I would like to tell you, money makes all the difference. So whether it is money towards investment, whether it is money towards realization. I have already told you what we can do in the realization part. Let me tell you how in the investment we can make this money more affordable. Banks, international banks. Sir, it's an important point, I'll wait. International banks, sir, are sitting at your doorstep and saying if we can get sovereign guarantees, we can give funding at about 4% to all real estate residential development. I think this has been carried out at various forums, and if you could think of a sovereign guarantee being given for projects that are special and the need of the hour, every developer who's using that or working towards that would be able to get funding at about 4 to 5%, thereby making the overall cost cheaper. And sir, again, it is no surprise that Japanese money is coming into the country. We are all aware there's the yen out there only depreciates every time they make an investment into Mumbai, and that's why today we are all aware they are the largest investors in this city, in all the infrastructure of this city, and now have gotten directly into commercial developments, first with MMRDA and now privately with developers. With that, there are lots of other smaller points. Stamp duty can be kind of back-ended. All your premiums, if they can be kind of back-ended, so that you make your realization of premiums over a period of time rather than upfront, will all make affordable rental housing a reality much faster. Like I said, alignment is the beginning. If we come together, we can create miracles. And you've seen the power of a public and government interaction has been in the past, and I'm sure you'll continue to see it in the future. Thank you very much for this initiative that has been taken up. I look forward to a better, brighter, bigger, and a more hospitable city called Mumbai, which has been the case so many years ago, and it is time to relive that glory again. So thank you.
Thank you, Baman, for a short and crisp one. I think two takeaways from your speech was that one, faster approvals and the delay that takes place. Second point is even more valid, and I think, but as I said, if I were to push this a little more, then I would be transcending my limits. But what I mentioned was that you're absolutely right that if concessions are given today or certain discounting is done in terms of premium, the effect would be seen maybe 2 years or 3 years down the line. Now, this aspect has to be taken up by all your organizations, NAREDCO, MCHI, CRIDI, and when you meet the Honorable Chief Minister, kindly put this across to him. And if you assure this to him, then I'm sure he will consider this. Second part is regarding the sovereign guarantee, which you mentioned of. Yes, it's true that a lot of international funds and especially the government funds in terms of the treasury bonds are willing to come and, provided the sovereign guarantee is given. Now, I just have one concern in that I'm not very well versed with the RBI norms, but even in cases where it is lent out at 4%, there is something called that conversion charges which they put, something. So that adds on to another 1.5 or 1.8%. But as I said, I've never applied for it because I can't afford to apply for such type of loans. But the second hitting element, again, in a public forum, there's no harm in mentioning it. You see, the state government is already having loans of almost 8 lakh crores. So now it's become 10. That's what Dominic says. So, with this, exactly how much of a sovereign guarantee of only the state government would be helpful, or if at all the government of India's counter guarantee would also be needed. But these are aspects, yes, definitely we'll incorporate this, and I'm sure with the accessibility that you all guys have with the power policy makers and the decision takers, you can also push through with your capabilities and outreach.
Sir, one more point that I want you to really focus on is, instead of collecting premiums in terms of cash, if there could be a system where you collect premiums in terms of area itself, that area could then be in the future used for
That's
whatever
what
purposes.
we are doing now. So that's what we are doing precisely now.
Exactly.
You see, all this 10 lakh square meter which I mentioned is coming in a housing stock, otherwise would have been in the form of premium.
Exactly, sir.
Firstly. Secondly, if you recollect, I don't want to take names of people. All of you are very pushy to say that, MHADA ka premium ka payment ka jo pattern hai is contrary to the MCGM one. And, that 1090, we have already implemented it. Yesterday, we issued a circular for the transition people who want to get converted. So now on similar MCGM lines, 1090, where you pay 10%, you get 90% of your CC. And then the installment can be paid over the next 5 years. So that has been done. Even there was an issue regarding the commercial, whereby we used to say by either the commercial rate or 1.5 times of the residential rate, whichever is higher. And this was causing a concern because the commercial price market was not very high. Even that now we have changed it, that 1.55 times of RR of the residential has been removed. And now it's only the commercial zone rate. So these are two major decisions as far as the penalty interest is concerned. That has been brought down from 18% to 12%. Only for BMC development charges, the necessary changes in the DCPR, especially in the MRTP, is yet to be done. So it's not that we are not trying to change with the times, but yeah, I can't take the responsibility of all the institutions. But the point is well taken that government will consider, and we will incorporate this.
Thank you, sir.
I would request Kunal, who is representing MIDC Joint CEO, Velarosu was supposed to come, but for some reason I don't know why he couldn't come. So Kunal, if you could just give an insight as to what are you planning for MIDC, especially for your encroached lands and for your industrial workers. Short and sweet.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me opportunity to hear and speak of this upcoming revolutionary, pragmatic and very benevolent policy for affordable housing. I am Dr. Kunal, Joint CEO, MIDC. As you all know, MIDC is strongly committed for more than last 65 years for industrial development. Affordable housing, especially housing near your industrial area or workplace, is very critical for industrial and economic development. Walk to the work has been vision of Honorable Prime Minister. So keeping this vision in mind, MIDC acts as per MIDC Act as well as CDCPR, Comprehensive Development Control Regulations, which came in 2023. It allows us 20% of our land, usable land, to be used for support activities, which includes residential purposes also. And recently, because of huge demand in MMR, PMR and major municipal corporations for more residential and commercial use, we have submitted to the government, and it is in end stages to increase this percentage from 20% to 40%, which will certainly allow us to give more our places and more permissions for residential projects as well. Also, we have many plots which are either vacant or encroached for many years. So in last 2 years, Industry Department and under guidance of UD Department has come up with notification for urban renewal scheme, under which MIDC has done agreement with our leaseholder as well as municipal corporations like Thane or Navi Mumbai, where we are going for this rehabilitation as well as affordable housing scheme. So sir, certainly we would push this upcoming rental housing policy also into that agreement and in those projects also. I urge and appeal to all esteemed developers present here, all the stakeholders in the housing sector present here, to work with MIDC to come forward and take advantage of single window system in the MIDC, where MIDC will be SPA for the land or plots owned by MIDC and would be able to give you all kinds of permission in, as mentioned on this platform, in very time bound manner, so that your cost of approval, cost of land comes down. Uh, Recently, we have also come up with certain RFP, which we have floated couple of weeks back, especially keeping in mind MMR as growth hub for our economy. We have come up with 3 big projects. We have 2 clusters in Dighi Port Industrial Area, where we want to develop international as well as domestic industrial park, where mixed use development will be allowed. And we have also appealed to, a third project is we have also appealed to landowners or aggregators who have more than 300 acre land in MMR region to set up this kind of mixed use industrial park in JV model. All this information would be available on MIDC website as well as MHADA website. So you are free to contact us in those projects also. And we will take your suggestions also into account while formulating this tender or while finalizing the tender and agreement. So you are welcome to give your suggestions even before we close this bidding. There will be a pre-bidding meeting also in that sense, and we will take into account this upcoming affordable rental housing policy also when we are going for that. So this industrial housing is a very key component in all these upcoming projects which MIDC is taking in the future also. We have certain land parcels available in TOD zone, especially in MMR and PMR region. So we can certainly look into it and use additional FSIs and this land and this policy to develop rental housing in that TOD zone also. So keeping those properties also in mind, we will take your help and develop these policies. Sir, I keenly attended today's session, and definitely all these incentives which are being given to the developers, like additional FSI or development fee charges, other tax and duty exemptions, etc. We will also push down in our MIDC policy all these incentives or provisions which are mentioned in this law. Lastly, sir, as Kailash Shinde sir also said, and I have also studied in Mumbai only, फेमस मराठी रायटर पु ल देशपांडेंनी एकदा म्हटलं होतं की मुंबईत जर घर पाहिजे असेल तर मुंबईत तुम्हाला जन्माला यावं लागेल, ती सोय तुमच्या आईवडिलांनी पहिलेच करून ठेवायला हवी. तर मला वाटतं की हे जे त्यांचं वाक्य आहे ते कदाचित सरांच्या पॉलिसीमुळे नक्कीच चेंज होईल. आणि ऑनरेबल CM सरांची जी विजन आहे, वेन वी पास डाऊन ऑल दिस बेनिफिट्स टू द एंड युजर, डेफिनेटली वी कॅन make this dream come true of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal, and thank you for providing the insights on the URS and the cluster schemes and the opening up of lands. There's only one request, like we had a joint meeting in this regard, and even the Honorable CM has mentioned this, that pertains to, you see, you have a lot of land which is encroached, and especially on the amenity plots or the reservation plots within the MIDC layout. Now, I know that some policy has been made as to how you can go in for redevelopment of this. From MHADA side, we had already offered that if MIDC were to do a tie-up with us, then we can extend our FSI and we can rehab those people who are eligible, and maybe the sale FSI can be shared between whatever, if there is any revenue. Now, why I'm saying so is that one of the components of the rental housing is the industrial housing, the industrial laborers or industrial workers. Now, there's a lot of people who are in the existing units out there, they are willing to even construct for their own workers. But we need to have some enabling provisions made in the Act or in the existing rules or the bylaws that you are talking about, so that anyone who comes forth with such a proposal, how can it be ensured that maybe it's only the cost of construction that is loaded on that unit or the factory owner or whichever conglomerate is there, and then a policy by which they can hand it over to their own laborers or their workers or even their managerial staff. If this is worked out, then in most of the MIDC areas, this problem of housing for the higher staff or the lower staff will be taken care of. And if you extend it only to the the encroached plots which is there, which is otherwise also of no value. Tomorrow someone will come there and then they will say कि इसको regularize करो, इसको SRA में scheme दो या कोई और scheme दो. उससे अच्छा है अभी अगर आप कुछ बना लेंगे तो उसमें एक फ़ायदा होगा. तो थैंक यू फॉर द इनपुट्स. एंड हाँ, तो उसको पुशअप करा दो. इवन CM सर इज टॉकिंग ऑन द सेम लाइन्स. आई थिंक बमन यू वांट टू लीव, सो यू कैन ऑलवेज लीव. आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट पराग टू speak on rental housing or maybe how transmission and how rental housing can come together. You're multifaceted here. You're multifaceted. Please. Thank you. So I can see Sandeep Runwal. So Sandeep, why did you join us?
Sir, kudos to you, sir, for taking up this, because this is a true time for us to really work on this rental housing. You know, with the whole urbanization happening, and if we are going to in the next 10 years, the way the GDP is going to grow and more people are going to move to the cities, if we do not have the right policies, it will definitely again crumble the infrastructure. Sir, I'm not going to repeat because you have really said a lot of excellent points in your presentation, and we should definitely work together to work on that. My one or two points would be, sir, that I think the incentive scheme for different types of housing will help. Like, because like you said, student housing usually happens next to the universities or colleges, which may be not in the city, maybe in outskirts, and that's where they can do. And there, if you create the right environment, people will do student housing. There are a lot of funds who are very keen to invest in rental housing, and a lot of funds want to create platform, because as a rental housing is one of the best investment class globally. It's got the stable yield, the demand is much stronger than any other class, and they're keen to grow in that. If we can create the right incentives for doing that, definitely I think if it can, I know this, that if it can happen, it can happen under your leadership, the Honorable CM leadership, and this government is the people who can do it. And we all will be all part of it, like all the other infrastructure projects. We will see to that this becomes successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Parag. Thank you very much. I think Abhinav, Kalyan Commissioner, Kalyan Dombivili. Short one, please.
Respected Jaiswal sir, other dignitaries on and off the dais. Sir, MHADA has really taken this great initiative for defining this housing and rental policy. As we know, sir, and all the participants here, that affordable housing and inclusive housing is a big challenge. Even, sir, when we work on the field, we see it on the ground. Even as I speak, I can realize that a lot of people are still searching for houses, and then they fall into the trap of someone, and then the problem of illegal constructions and chawls arises. Even though we have a large inventory of organized housing also available in our area, and therefore, sir, to bridge this gap as well as to provide affordable and rental housing parts to different communities which may be coming up in the cities, be it professionals, women, students, etc. I think, sir, this will be the way forward, and it will really help. Sir, I have a couple of inputs that I wish to share, sir. Sir, regarding the definition of tenants, we still follow sometimes the Rent Control Act, and usually, as you had also pointed out in your slide, that about 90% are still in disputes. Mostly when the redevelopment happens, one of the dispute that arises is mostly between the developer and the tenant as to who is the tenant, and therefore the project is delayed and stuck. So, sir, if in this new policy, this whole segment can be refined, it will really help in actually making this rental policy more inclusive and more dispute free, sir. Also, sir, one of the suggestions that you had also pointed out, and which I, in my interaction with MCHI, had also, the MCHI had given this suggestion that the 20% housing that we reserve for EWS, and which has to be given under the inclusive housing policy by MHADA, the allotment happens by lottery, and sometimes that is not picked up, and lot of, again, inventory is lying vacant. So if a part of that 20% EWS housing is kept exclusively for the rental part, some part of it, that will really help the the sector and the cause of the rental housing. Obviously, sir, this is a win-win situation for everyone, for all the stakeholders, be it the citizens, be it the government, as well as the private developers. The digital platform which you spoke about, sir, I think that will also be a game changer, because there is still no organized platform where a price discovery for the citizen can happen. Mostly there are middlemen where the citizens run to, and it leads to another different set of problems. Obviously, the market and the economics will play its role, but as a government, if we can provide a platform and intervene, probably there can be an organization set up wherein the suppliers, the buyers, the sellers can come, and there will be an adequate price discovery for the rental housing, sir. I think, sir, definitely from the corporation side, we'll be more than happy to incorporate this, as well as to help out in any manner possible, be it the tax waivers, or providing government lands and other caught up lands to free them and to provide them in under PPP modes for developing inclusive and rental housing. Thank you, sir, for providing me this opportunity to be a part of this conference as a participant and as a speaker. And definitely, sir, I have taken some good inputs from this this conference, and definitely we'll implement those things in our area, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Abhinav. You guys are the future in the sense that, you have a long years left in the bureaucracy. We are in the 30th year right now. So, you people are going to carry forth all these things in the future. Just one suggestion to you, and, obviously we are going to take a separate conference of the MMR commissioners and some of the municipal commissioners of the state. You see, basically having worked in the corporation, there are a lot of reservations in the DP, which has become not required. It's absolutely defunct. And the reservation stays, you are not in a position to acquire that land by paying money. The landowner is not in a position or does not want to really go in for a TDR because of the discounting in the TDR that is taking place. Roughly 50% or 52% is the discounting factor in the TDR in the open market today. So one suggestion is that, some of the reservations which are there, which need not be there, like कोई है housing for this house है, या कोई अपना RNR के लिए reservation होती है. So just have a look in your DP, and some of the reservations which can be converted into rental housing. What will happen is that then maybe the landowner will come forth and try to see to it, and then in the rental housing, if you can put in the AR policy. So AR policy is any way permissible in the UDCPR. So it is a win-win situation for everyone. You get the rental housing free of cost. You can give him the construction TDR for the construction part of it. And in the remaining part, he can use it for the free FSI and make it for whatever purpose. So, I purposely mentioned this, that when I was Thane Commissioner, and, a lot of people of Thane here, Fayaz is there, it's his birthday today, so Fayaz, wish you a very, very happy birthday. Gaurav is here, Sachin is here, Mandalkalji is here. A lot of other people from Thane are here. You see, we made the best use of this AR accommodation reservation policy and the construction TDR. So you see the Central Park which came up. Parag is here. I'm really, I forgot to mention his name. The biggest park which was then, basically made open to the public, the Namo Park, it's called right now, the Central Park, which was what we had conceptualized, has been done totally on construction TDR, though he has incurred some loss in it, I know that. But ultimately, it makes of the selling component of the project. Hiranandani Saab just left, but the Nadan Park, which is planned in his layout, I don't see Naveen Vakija here, or Gopal Narang is also not here, but the city park that was made. Mandalkalji is here, the traffic park, which was done, Ronak, is a classic example of how, the children traffic park is still running. I think, the urban forest, the urban jungle which we had just made on the land above it is another case of which, so what I'm trying to say is, if you open up the amenity plots and bring it for a nice, genuine purpose, and the reservation plots, change the reservation, bring in rental, and go in for AR policy. This should be the takeaway for you guys, who are young and, wanting to do something. Otherwise, with your financial constraints, it gets difficult to really generate that much of money to implement schemes. So having said that, thank you very much. I think Rajan Bandalkar is here. He is NAREDCO chairman right now? Vice chairman NAREDCO. So I would request him to kindly give his suggestions. Short and sweet and crisp, that's for sure.
good afternoon. There are majority people who are from Thane also. So in Thane, everybody knows what changes Jaiswal sir has done. I will tell you, if you ask any developer or any person in Thane, they will only remember two people name. One is Chandrasekhar and thereafter direct Jaiswal. तो बीच में जितने भी कमिश्नर आए, तो द डिफरेंस, मैं सर रेंटल हाउसिंग से ज़्यादा आपके ऊपर थोड़ा ही बात करना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि क्या है, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट है सर इसका रीज़न मैं बताता हूँ सर। म्हाडा में भी जितने भी वीपीज आए ना, मुझे नहीं पता लगता है कि किसी ने भी ऐसे पब्लिक मीटिंग लिए होंगे। आई थिंक दिस इज योर 4th और 5th मीटिंग। दिस इज अ चेंज व्हाट सर हैज डन। मतलब सर वांट्स टू इन्वॉल्व द पीपल। वो बोलते हैं ना पीपीपी, दिस इज अ रियल पीपीपी। सर रेंटल हाउसिंग ऑफ कोर्स एक जमाने में, अगर जैसे हिरानंदानी सर ने बताया, 1950s पीपल हुएर यूज्ड टू कम, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द मुंबई इज ऑफ चार्ल्स वेयर इट वाज ओनली रेंटल, बट देयर आफ्टर द कॉस्ट इंक्रीज, जो भी प्रॉब्लम हुआ उसके वजह से स्लम डेवलप हो गए, इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन हो गए। जैसे आज सर ने भी बताया, कल्याण में अगर आप बताओ सर, लीगल से ज़्यादा, मतलब लीगल कम होगा, इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन इतना ज़्यादा है कि पूछो। सो दैट इज या एवरीवेयर। सो सर इसके अंदर एक ही पॉइंट शायद अगर मेरे पहले लोगों ने मिस कर दिया है, ग्रीन जोन में अगर आप इंसेंटिव देकर बनाओगे, क्योंकि अगर आप सोचते हो कि मुंबई में जहाँ पे लैंड कॉस्ट ज़्यादा है वहाँ पर रेंटल, सर हम सब बोलेंगे हाँ हाँ हाँ, कोई नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि इट इज़ नॉट अफोर्डेबल एंड नॉट वायबल। अल्टीमेटली बिजनेस वायबल सेंस होगा। तो आज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, थैंक्स टू देवेंद्र फडणवीस जी, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऐसे बना रहे कि मेरे को लगता है कि मुंबई के किसी भी कोने से आप 1 घंटे के अंदर कहीं पे भी पहुँचना है, पहुँच सकते हैं वंस विदिन 3-4 ईयर्स। तो अगर आपने अभी अगर ग्रीन जोन में अगर लिया और ग्रीन जोन में इंसेंटिव दिया, वहाँ पे रेंटल बना, तो 100% दैट इज गोइंग टू बी अ वेरी वेरी गेम चेंजर एंड वैल्यूएबल। थैंक यू सर। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र।
राजन जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आपके मुद्दे पे सिर्फ 2 ही मुद्दा कहूँगा मैं। एक तो आपने वो प्रेजेंटेशन देखा नहीं, बट प्रेजेंटेशन में हमने बेसिकली रेंटल हाउसिंग करने के लिए क्या इंसेंटिव दिया जाए, जिसके वजह से, जैसे आपने कहा, इट्स ट्रू दैट कि अल्टीमेटली एनी डेवलपर और एनी वन ऑल्सो वांट्स टू मेक मनी। सो यू नो हाउ टू कंपनसेट फॉर दैट कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट विच इज़ ब्लॉक्ड वॉज टेकन केयर ऑफ, उसको हमने कवर किया था। रही बात ग्रीन जोन के बारे में या NDZ के बारे में, उस पर एक दूसरा एंगल है एक्चुअली। एक दूसरा एंगल ये है कि सी अल्टीमेटली आज मुंबई हो, MMR हो या ओवरऑल महाराष्ट्र हो, हमारी ओवरऑल ग्रीन कवर कम रही है। और अभी अगर आज के दिन में मैंने, ठीक है, अभी इसका दूसरा बाजू ये है, एंक्रोचमेंट हो जाती है तो उसको बाद में गवर्नमेंट रेगुलराइज करती है, तो हाँ वो फ्री दे देते हैं, CRZ हो या सॉल्ट पैन हो या कुछ भी लैंड हो। आई डोंट वांट टू गो इनटू दैट। किसी अलग सेशन पे स्लम्स क्यों बनता है और स्लम्स क्यों नहीं जा रहा है, वो मैंने ऑलरेडी एक आई थिंक मटा का एक संवाद हुआ था उस पर मैंने, जिसमें ऑलमोस्ट मेरे को 10 लाख व्यू मिल गया। I got 10 lakh views on what I said there. Then I realized that I said something very controversial. तो आज यहाँ नहीं बोलूँगा, but the other angle is, you know, if we were to allow all this into the green zone or the NDZ, then what are we leaving for the posterity? What are we leaving for the future? Because ultimately, if there's a shrinking of green space. Now, what I had suggested to the Honorable Chief Minister, and I'm putting it on record, you know, I come up with some whimsical ideas, and that's the reason I get a lot of bashing at times at various forums. But it doesn't make a difference. अब हो गया नौकरी 30 साल का होने को आ गया, 6 साल 6.5 साल बचा है, संदीप निकाल लेंगे जैसे भी है। तो what I had suggested was कि coastal road is a classic example, जो मुंबई को शायद सालों पहले करना चाहिए था, चलो देर आया दुरुस्त है। कोस्टल रोड में पहली बार हमने रिक्लेमेशन करके वी हैव मेड अ कोस्टल रोड। Now, if a road can be for connectivity, if it can be made for a, you know, obviously there's no reason to say, you know, counter. So that is also an eye-opener that why are we not reclaiming more land and converting it into green zone? So what I suggested to the Honorable Chief Minister, and he's taken it very seriously, maybe after the corporation election is over, the pursuance will start. So what I've suggested is that, you know, we should submit a proposal by taking all the, you know, the various authority and the various regulatory organizations into confidence and give a simple proposal to Government of India after going to the Supreme Court committee and the environmental committees which is there, and you give a wish list. You want to make that Mumbai 33% forest cover or green cover. जो डेफिसिट है, जो डेफिसिट नहीं है, उसको आप कोस्टल के बाजू में और रिक्लेम करो और पूरा ग्रीन कवर बना दो। वो ग्रीन कवर बनाने के बाद में उसी ग्रीन कवर के नीचे में you can do what other cities like Denmark, Netherlands, you just name it, or even Tokyo, Japan. Yeah. No, what I was saying was you make holding ponds. Reclaim land, ऊपर में green cover डालो, नीचे में holding ponds डालो. Holding ponds का मतलब ये है कि today in Mumbai city, if you ask me honestly, obviously people will think that I'm talking about Mumbai and all this, so maybe am I planning something else? Yes, why not? Why not? That's what I'm saying very categorically. But this is the vision. If you have holding, see today in the city, Villa Rasu was supposed to come. I think I can't see anyone from MCGM. Vipin Sharma had said he'll come. Amit had said, I don't know where is Vipin. Vipin is there? No, I can't see him. No issue. So, you see, in the city, even if you make holding ponds, what is going to be the capacity with all the utilities over there? उससे अच्छा जो है आप reclaim करके holding pond बनाइए क्योंकि the only solution to the floods in Mumbai. Dominic, all you guys who have been working, Dhaval is here, all you guys who have worked here. Tell me, even if you get, इंद्र जी को भी ले आओ और उनको बोलो कि भैया 200 mm बारिश होगा या 250 mm बारिश होगा and there is high tide. 200 से 250 mm की बारिश संदीप और हाई टाइड है और मुंबई में फ्लड्स नहीं हो, भगवान भी कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. You will have to have that holding capacity of that water because the water can't be pumped out for that limited hours. So this is where, there was a lot of talks going on JICA. I was part of the intergovernmental delegation which went to Japan with the government of India in a very high delegation, though I was Thane Commissioner. My submission, and this is what I want you guys to do, without quoting me, obviously I'll be quoted, is that make it a point to convince Honorable CM that, sir, this is the right thing. If we can do coastal road by reclaiming, if we can do Vadhavan port, which was stuck on for 25 years, from conceptualization. I was told, Wankhede is here, Wankhede told me one day that the coastal road conceptualization was way back in 1960s. Say 1963, imagine. The coastal road was conceptualized in 1963 and then it saw the light of the day after whatever be it. I don't want to praise anyone because again that will land me into a political controversy. Vadhavan port, another example. With all this, it's going to affect this line, that line, environmental, the whole line was changed. And it was shown that it is not going to affect the whole drought movement or whatever be it. Similarly, reclaim land, create a green zone, and then this issue of, the existing green zone in the city area can be then brought into purposes for very social and community-based reasons. So, using your good connects, तुम्ही असतात तिथे भरपूर एकदा ते असं इनफॉर्मल चर्चाच्या वेळी हे मुद्दा मांडा, माझं नाव पण सांगा, काय क्रेडिट भेटला तुम्हाला भेटेल, आम्ही इम्प्लिमेंट करू नंतर. थँक यू व्हेरी मच. आय थिंक संदीप इज देअर. सो संदीप, I think if you don't mind, Sandeep, can you just, yeah, obviously. If you don't mind, I think Sachin Mirani wants to run away. So Sachin Mirani is Thane MCHI president, so I thought he would come, Sachin. I'm sorry, extremely sorry. I know it's lunchtime and we have kept a very good lunch. So after some time, we'll just open it up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, sir, for giving me the opportunity to place my views in front of this esteemed forum. Actually, the rental housing scheme which sir has now proposed, going through it, it's a need of the hour because a lot of commercial developments are happening in and around Mumbai. In Thane, we are developing around 3 million commercial spaces and other developers are building around 5 to 8 million square feet of area in Thane. And there's a lot of migration happening from all over India. The housing problem is there for people in and around Mumbai who wants to come here and stay here. With this initiative, if we can create a very good housing stock on a rental basis and on an affordable basis for all the people around in Mumbai, would really be of great help to all the people, and the commercial activities will also pick up slowly and steadily if we have a good housing solution available with us to provide. Because normally many people have a concept in mind ki coming to Mumbai is like increasing your lifestyles, paying more for your rents, paying more for your daily needs. So rental housing it's a very good initiative by MHADA, and I think so it will really help creating a very good fabric infrastructure in and around Mumbai. And sir, Dr. Kunal, we are working a lot with MIDC in Thane, you are aware. We had worked out, you have a very good land parcel which is encroached in Navi Mumbai. With Vela Rasu sir, we had worked on 3 to 4 proposals how we can go ahead. I think so that parcel can be a good thing, because I think so that's more than 300 acres which has been encroached in Navi Mumbai. So that if we can work out something can create a good housing parcel for, MMR region. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Sachin. I was just informed that maybe today, in today's date, you are the biggest developer of Thane today in terms of quantum and turnover. Obviously, the biggest one is slightly on the move, but so why I said this, and the reason why I got you on the stage was that I do expect that you've done a lot of commercial, a lot of industrial parks and everything. So if you can take a lead in Thane, and with Saurav around there, Saurav could not come in the last minute, I think you can make a game changer. In Wagle Estate, as you rightly mentioned, already the MIDC land is going in the cluster, Kunal. And this Navi Mumbai issue that has been going on for quite some time. And I think personally that, if you take up this matter with your industry minister and even the Honorable Chief Minister, the housing minister, definitely a big land parcel which otherwise is of no value right now can be brought into a useful purpose. Maybe some township can be planned or something can be done. And yesterday, just like Sitco, mini township concept has come. I think it's the right time right now that even MIDC should venture into only the ambits of the, industrial township. Like वो हो गया बहुत हो गया जमीन देना ऑफ यूनिट आता नहीं है ये सब बंद करके MIDC should now also become a nodal agency as a planning authority for setting up small townships is the need of the hour. You are a very young officer, you have performed very well in the field. I'm sure with your experience in the field, you will definitely make a good proposal, go to the government, convince the government, definitely it will be considered. So that's the challenge for you. I think, Sandeep, I'm extremely sorry for interrupting you in between. You can speak from here also, Sandeep.
Sir, my apologies for being late. So I missed your presentation in the beginning. But what I have caught, sir, first is, sir, Bombay and Shanghai, whenever we used to come, we used to always keep saying Bombay needs to catch up with Shanghai. But I can now tell you, Bombay is 25 years ahead of most of the other cities in India with the infrastructure work which is going on. A lot of companies, a lot of offices are moving back to Bombay. And at this point of time, if we have to get the IT space back, I think rental housing will play a very key factor to this whole thing. And I'm very impressed that you've already thought through for the next 5 years, because this will be the demand 5 years to get industry back. Because Bombay is thriving, but we are bringing in very high office spaces which are expensive. But we are not able to drive in the IT sector which drives demand, and they don't come in because renting a house is impossible. Secondly, as a developer, if you tell me I'm getting 0.5 FSI, the first thing I'm thinking, today sir has called me to get more FSI, chalo, I have to attend this meeting. But the idea is not to create more FSI for ourselves and profit for ourselves, but to create housing stock so that Bombay as a city thrives. If you are given a cap rate or a percentage on your investment, sir, we can very easily sort this problem out. End of the day, we have capital invested. Sir, my only small quick suggestion, sir, I mean all the developers have covered this. I only suggest, sir, we have an investment of X rupees to build rental housing. If you link this to a cap rate of 8%, 12% or 18% and fix rents based on that, we are very happy to build the stock. I don't think any developer is going to put in their money to build and say yes to you today. If it's a percentage of our return in the entire project, all of us will build. Sir, in New York, everyone builds rental housing. Buildings are fully rented out because it's a thriving business. They are getting a return on their capital. If you're not going to give me a return on my capital, whatever scheme you come out with will get misused, sir. That's the limited point I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandeep. As usual, you are one of those who's blessed with a beautiful voice and a very, killing looks. So, with this combination of that, innocent killing looks and a very chilling voice, I think, I was just seeing the looks of everyone out here, and everyone was staring at you as if, if him ये film star कहाँ से आ गया? But actually, both all of you guys, like Baman, you, everyone out here, So, but yeah, your point is very well taken. And what I really liked in your point was that the fact that the Mumbai, the way it's growing, and I would just say that it's really a matter of pride that in the last few years, in this government or the erstwhile government, if you see the amount of funding that has taken place in the infrastructure, whether it is the coastal road, whether it is the Mumbai metro, whether it is the MMR metro, whether it is the Atal Setu, Vadhavan, Navi Mumbai airport, and now the expansion of the coastal road beyond Bandra to Goregaon, Vasai, and then further down till Vadhavan. And like the Edu City, which has been proposed just after the Atal Setu landing, the MIDC which has been proposed in Pune. Now even then the Thane, the new Thane, the Kharbao part is also going into a major way to redevelopment. So in the Samruddhi Mahamarg is another example. The Shaktipeeth Mahamarg, which is going to connect the whole from the Goa to the last port, to Kolhapur. So the focus of Honorable CM and the Deputy CM and the government is very clear that the attraction of having a house only and only in Mumbai and proper Mumbai, and when I say Mumbai, it was towns and suburbs, is getting a little diluted now. Because if the connectivity has improved, if I can reach the town in 40 minutes or 30 minutes, there is no reason for me to insist for having a house in Lower Parel or in Churchgate or in Bandra or even to an extent in say Ghatkopar. अब अटल सेतु से उस तरफ से अगर आएंगे and better townships, better amenities. So I am happy that like all and what you mentioned that if all these things are taken care of, you missed the part of the presentation. I'll send it to you again. Lot of concessions has been pronounced in it, and if it really goes through, then I'm sure that with all stalwarts like you, we can definitely change the face of Mumbai in the coming years. Thank you once again. Dhaval is there, so I think Dhaval would like to say we'll end up with only two more formal speeches, and then if someone has any suggestions or any points to be mentioned or any questions, we'll open up the forum, or else we can then go for lunch. So Dhaval, one quick one from your side, and I always give Dominic the opportunity of concluding the session because somehow when he speaks, he always has a tendency to speak on track and then leave the track and again come back on the track. So that's the best part in you. So I give you the liberty to leave the track, come on the track, go back again, come in, come out. But Dhaval, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, sir. You've always been an inspiration and giving amazing views. Your thought about Mumbai transforming to a city which, and I completely resonate with what Sandeep said, that Mumbai is 25 years ahead of all cities of India per se. Sir, I personally have only one thing to say. I think all developers have said everything. Mumbai and rental housing can completely change the real estate scenario of India per se. And this rental housing policy, if it is matched or married as a financial instrument, sir, which what Sandeep said, I think that will completely change. I think every developer today is only working on IRRs. हमारे पैसे पे कितना रिटर्न आता है, अगर वो एक फिक्स होता है, so there is no reason for an FSI, there is no reason for a city. We need more open spaces, we need less FSI, but if we can get a fixed kind of a return, I mean every other developer would love to jump in this rental housing policy and want to make more and more homes, because in the end of it, it's the asset which is being created for not only us, but everyone put together. So my only request, sir, is probably a lot of us as developers, as officers from MHADA and government and RBI can come together. I think we can work on something which can be a friendly model which will personally help this rental housing to become a more successful model. So I think that is the only one thing which I would suggest to have it, sir. Thank you very much once again. I must congratulate you for this amazing incentive policy which we all definitely would want to jump in, sir. And I can only just one promise, sir, sorry. As Ajmera, I'm personally saying that if all implemented together, we will at least take 2 or 3, make 2 or 3 schemes in this rental housing thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhaval. I was just going to mention that, somehow your title that you have, Ajmeras, Ajmeras are a very big group otherwise, and with all the factions and the, at times I keep on asking, you are part of this Ajmera, that Ajmera. So Alpesh is there, Rushi is there, a lot of people, and obviously, your father and everyone has been a very, in fact, Parag's father is another iconic person. I have always wish to Parag that, I would like to have an informal session with him where I get some guidance and advice from him, but maybe he's been very selfish and he says, नहीं sir, उनका पूरा ज्ञान जो है वो मैं खुद अपने पास ही रखूँगा और आपको वो ज्ञान जो है आपको जो लेना है मैं मेरे मार्फत आपको वो दूंगा. तो अच्छी बात है, कोई बात नहीं है. तो एक बार आशा है कि all you guys who are the second generation, definitely you continue the legacy, and those who are in the first generation are definitely doing very good, and those who are in the zero generation right now, in the coming days you have a lot of opportunities to start off something of your own. Before we just go on the informal part, one last I think views by Dominic, a very dear friend of mine. He always corrects me when I'm wrong. If he sees me doing something wrong, he messages to me saying that, sir, isko thoda badal do, isko thoda sa. Please, Dominic.
Sir, it will be too heavy for lunch. Your words. Good afternoon all, and good afternoon all the dignitaries. So just to add what Sandeep said, the mayor of New York, who's an Indian origin, only won it because of assuring people in New York that the rental prices will be lowered down than the rental prices today. So that's a fact, sir, what Sandeep said. Adding to what Dhaval said, sir, all of us are working on an equity and an IRR basis. My simple thing, sir, don't get into the premiums deduction. I'll give you a very simple maths. The one FSI which belongs to the landowner will be his land. The balance FSI, whatever he builds, will be on rental with a nominal fee. And after 10 years, it becomes his. So he's built his equity, government gets a purpose solved, and we can move on. Your policy for the first 5 years is very encouraging, because every building which you build has to have a good plinth. And this will be a plinth for the person who comes to Mumbai. For the 5 years he can live on rental. Choose his neighborhood, which is very important. Because what happens, sir, when you don't choose your neighborhood right, you spend 11% to the government by way of stamp duty and GST, which is not any IRR coming back to the tenement. So that 5 years will choose where he can dwell or where he wants to be, and the next 5 years he can buy it out. So I think that's a very important point which I would like to say. Rest, sir, policy is good, but I just said make it very simple. Don't go into 0.5, 0.3. Let anyone build unlimited FSI he wants, the way he wants, depending on the environmental impact assessment.
I'll just interrupt. That 0.5 and 0.3, which I mentioned in my presentation, was a free FSI over and above the permissible FSI.
I agree, sir.
So, see, in the regular FSI, anyone doing rental, वो तो कर ही सकते हो.
No, what happens, sir, when you have a mixed user, I'll tell you where the problem comes. When you have a mixed user, the building doesn't have its value. So the 0.5 which I'm going to build for rental, the people who are living in the building will not accept it. But when I do the entire thing for rental, like today I have an IT park, which I have a special rate because I own the entire building. The whole factor is mine. So that gives a better IRR to the product. So that's very important. So for 10 years, government will get this free of cost with a nominal rent. You fix up the rent as per inflation. It can go on and come up. Sir, today if you look at Bombay, today everyone who's bought a house is made a lot of money. Today rental yield for residential, commercial is at 7 and 8%, but rental yield is not very behind, far behind. It's around 4 to 5%. But the inflation is 5 or 6%. So you're still getting a 10 double-digit IRR, which is very important. Rest, I think it's a good scheme. We all should be. But one thing I will request all the developers and the architects today, see, we have already failed once earlier. Build the house thinking that one of your people are going to live there. All the rental scheme we have seen in MMRDA, in New Bombay, is today all a pigeonhole. Nobody is even, I think government is spending money to maintain it now. So my request is that this is a second opportunity. I always say it's a reincarnation that you're going to get it very soon. Build it right. Think one of your own people are going to live in there. It doesn't cost, I'm telling you honestly with my experience, whatever I have, construction amenities don't cost any money. I think we waste time in trying to select materials which are cheaper, which is actually a waste of your ROE or IRR. Just build it well where people can dwell, and after 10 years, you can use it well also. That's all. With all this, sir, I'll thank you for having my speech at the end. It's very difficult to speak, but I still have managed to speak, I said, at the end.
Thank you, Dominic. I'll just counter one point, Dominic, of yours, not on a personal level. क्या वो करना चाहिए ना, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, हमारा तो ऐसे ही चलते रहता है, सालों से ऐसे ही चल रहा है. So you see, this point was actually considered that, if we are going to have a mixed use, especially for rental housing, and if we are giving an extra incentive FSI, will it definitely, would it impact the overall project, because, the people who are staying there or people buying houses there. Now, my point of difference only, we deliberated, and the reason why we came to this decision that yes, we should do that, is for the simple reason that let's now, let's be very categorical and clear. In Mumbai today, land that is available for construction or whatever be it, 70% of the land is redevelopment land. Whether it is MHADA land, whether it is BMC land, estate land, or whether it is SRA land. Now, in a scenario where already you are doing projects on a redevelopment project, where you are also rehabilitating the existing tenants or the slum dwellers or whatever be it, and then in the same complex with a different access. You are having the free sale. I don't want to take names. There are some people here, who tell me that, sir, the reason why we are stuck on to 33.7 or whatever be it, is that, it's worth the investment and worth the patience and worth the labor. The returns are so high. So we have a scenario where 33.7, 33.5, 33.9, SRA 33.10, even 33.13, whatever be it, where we are doing a mixed use. The only concern that is there is, yes, if we were to go in for rental, and if especially, we are going to have for a specific category that is for an old age home or a working woman hostel, then the basic this of maybe a standalone building with a different separate access, ingress. If that is taken care of, then I think it can be worked on. And rest of the points that you have mentioned obviously has been taken. I think Mr. Thakur, who's going to be the president-elect of Naritco, yeah. So he wanted to say something. So please.
Yeah. Sir, I am very, very excited with this change which I am seeing. Last 1 month we have witnessed, starting from Municipal Commissioner Ji, he called a meeting of all the stakeholders, and all the stakeholders, all the people were engaged in the discussion for the way ahead. Then the SRA CEO, sir, also called. He demonstrated the technology which they are introducing, Netram and all, something which was unheard. And we were quite surprised pleasantly that what they are thinking for Mumbai city, MMR. And now meeting you and seeing your vision on the rental housing, it only makes me feel that the vision from the top leadership, which is to make Maharashtra come back on this path of success, each one of you who are the soldiers are helping us. And when you are taking the lead as an industry, all of us assure you, sir, this deliberation will keep happening, but we are wanting to walk with you the journey, and together we make this the most profitable and most competitive state. And one of the glory days of Maharashtra and Mumbai should be brought back. Thank you.
I was expecting the MCHI Mumbai President Sukraj Nahar to be here. In fact, I had texted him, but I can't see him actually. He's not in town? Dominic is, Rajan ji, how can you say that the ex-wife and the present wife are the same? Let's not be that liberal. We itna bhi desh liberal nahi hua hai. We are going to the Western culture. Okay, fine. So I think we've had a round of this. Now I just leave it to the open forum if anyone wants to suggest something, or anyone wants to counter something, or if anyone felt that anything that was said was wrong or baseless or it needs to be changed. It's an open forum. Sky's the limit. So someone has to venture, someone has to volunteer to start off with. You already spoke. ऐसे क्या होता है? मैंने डायस पे बैठ के अलग बोलूँगा, नीचे बैठ के अलग बोलूँगा, ऐसा मैं भी आता हूँ नीचे फिर. अच्छा ठीक है. चलो भाई. मेरे पास एक रहने दो. Thereafter, yeah, but please introduce yourself. Yeah. Yeah, short and sweet.
Sir, the point what we all have the notion in government is that what concessions you gave us, 50%, and we didn't pass it on to the customer. Believe me, sir, some black sheeps. All of us have paid 6% stamp duty, which was much more than the concession we paid, we got benefit of. So the 6% stamp duty, because earlier it was 3% and then it became 6%. So that is a point which we also want to clarify from the fraternity, that we have passed it on to every developer in spite of being 3% to 6%. So the prices were good. 2 years, there was no increase in price, as Baman said, and that's very clear, sir.
No, the point is well taken, Dominic. I just sounded the concern of the Honorable Chief Minister because he specifically mentioned this to me that you are suggesting all this, then, how will you ensure this? So I gave a stupid idea. I said, we can have a system where we make an escrow account and all that, then that was not viable. But Baman also clarified in this, and I'm sure that, the reason why I flagged it to you was that maybe whenever a final deliberation takes place regarding this at the highest level, you people will also be called as a representation or organization. Also, you also want to be the audience.
Only one.
बोलिए आप लोग अच्छा है
सर इसका रीजन क्या इसका रीजन ये है कि सर
ठाणे वाले क्या हो गया है ठाणे वाले आजकल क्या है आधा इधर भी है आधा उधर भी है कोई बात नहीं चलो बोलो
सर ऑप्शन नहीं है
ऑप्शन तो किसी के पास नहीं रहता है लेकिन कुछ जगह पे ऑप्शन छोड़ देने का क्या फर्क पड़ता है
सर हम इसको इसलिए आपको कन्विंस कर रहे हैं कि हमको पता है कि अगर आप कन्विंस हो जाएगा तो काम हो जाता है सर इसका बेसिक मैं बताता हूं कि आज अगर आप 2013 से पकड़ो तो 2020 तक दाम कम हुए हैं सर लेकिन फ्लैट के जो है ना अगर आप देखो कितने ही डेवलपर ये मैंने सीएम सर को भी बताया लेकिन आज क्या होता है इसी वो जिस कुर्सी में बैठे हैं तो उनका सिंपल है कि इन्फ्लेशन नहीं बढ़ा वो इन्फ्लेशन बढ़ गया है लेकिन सर जो 50% जो प्रीमियम में रिडक्शन दिया ना अगर वो नहीं दिया रहता ना सर ये हॉल पूरा खाली रहता सर आपको डेवलपर ही नहीं मिलते ये बहुत बड़ा प्लस पॉइंट है ठीक है आज क्या हो रहा है कि हमने कुछ भी किया ना हमने कितना भी अच्छा किया किसी को दिखता नहीं है अनफॉर्चुनेटली लेकिन इतना बोलते हैं ना बुरा किया तो पूरा इतना न्यूज बन जाता
नहीं ऐसा नहीं है राजन जी देखिए अभी क्या हो गया रेरा जब आया था तो रेरा ने ठीक है उसमें कुछ जो भी है नहीं उसके बारे में नहीं बोलूंगा मैं बट रेरा ने एक चीज अच्छा किया द इन्वेंट ऑफ रेरा हैज डन वन थिंग दैट द सो कॉल्ड ब्लैक शीप्स आर हैव गॉट लिटरली इरोडेड or almost on the stage of getting eroded. It is the genuine players, whether they're small, big, first-timer, second-timer, legacy, dynasty, that apart. The players who are now there are people who are genuine and who are committed to the cause of the people. And with the RERA regulations now, with having a separate account and this and everything is on this, when is your commencement, when is your completion, any changes to be done, society approval and all that. So RERA has ensured that, and I have been one of the few officers in whichever capacity who has openly said, and I repeat this, I said that the contribution of the real estate industry to either Mumbai, Maharashtra or the country's GDP is so high that we can't discount them. Unfortunately, some of us, we tend to have a very strong personal relationship, and when it comes in the public forums, at times, people behave as if, okay, fine, I know you formally. That's not right. Ultimately, you guys are contributing so much, so there is no reason to have any doubt or any this on the integrity in terms of passing on. But at the cost of reputation, see, as an officer, it's my duty to say that what is the point that is keeping the Honorable CM on the hold. So I said, I'm not quoting him. I'm just raising his concern. And I'm sure that the point has been well taken. I, on my part, will also convey. But then, you as a united forum, as a cohesive group, if you go ahead and say this, sir, we will ensure this and this way it will be done, I'm sure he will, his concerns will be taken care of. Yes, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Girish Dravid. I am a structural engineer for last 40 years. And I also happen to be the chairman of Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat. Council on Tall Buildings and Urban Habitat. So which deals with problems that we are talking today. And while you people are talking about strategies and policies to house maximum number of people in short period of time, I'm also happy to see all my developer friends here supporting this scheme, and has to be. I also want to attract the attention towards the technical feasibility. How we are going to do this and what kind of new technologies that we have to bring in. Because in 5 years, if you have to build millions of houses, and with the shortage of labor, skilled labor, and the other infrastructure development that is already taking place, we are going to find it difficult to build these houses without proper technologies. One such technology that I'm advocating here today is 3D precast buildings. And I specially came here because I was invited to talk about this.
3D precast.
3D precast.
Precast, yeah.
Can I come there?
Yeah, please come. I'll just interrupt for a second before you elaborate on that, because obviously, you see, in one of the slides which I had presented, and how this is achievable, one of the component that was mentioned there was use of new technology to ensure a faster implementation and delivery of whatever has to be constructed. Now, obviously, I didn't elaborate on the if every slide had I elaborated, then I would have taken 2 days to complete my presentation. But that point is well taken care of, and definitely you see in the Western countries, already we have had 2-3 presentations made to the Honorable Chief Minister. I don't want to name the firms or the groups which are very established across the world, from the US and from the European countries and from other places where they have constructed fast houses, whereby they have suggested for a new technology which is of a faster construction.
Correct.
The only point which is a concern as far as Mumbai is concerned is, you see the high-rise buildings here, and especially considering that we have a coastal weather where the erosion and the abrasion takes place very high. So time-tested technology versus a technology which may be good, but how good it would be for a 300-meter odd building is also a challenge. But definitely I'm sure that with you people around and with all the, the accessibility to internet and the Google right now, everyone would adopt the best technology.
Of course, sir. The details I won't go into, but I'll just tell you that any technology that we should bring in, should be just one step ahead, not drastically change it. I mean,
so what I'll suggest is that I'll give you time next week. I'll give you next week. Please come to my office and make a small presentation to me.
Exactly.
And Wankhede, please note down his number and name, and we'll call you next week for the presentation, technical presentation.
Yeah.
You and your colleague, I think he also wanted to say the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah, okay.
Anyone else? Yeah. Yes, Mr. Virani, birthday boy. Wankhede, why don't you one bouquet for the birthday boy here, please?
Sir, thank you very much, sir.
You want the bouquet from me? Come.
सर पहले ही आप इतना डरा रहे हो तो ऊपर आते आते मैं मेरा प्रश्न ही भूल गया, इतना सर ने कॉन्शियस कर दिया. Sir, firstly, I'll introduce myself. I'm Mr. Virani, Fayaz Virani, Secretary, MCHI Thane. And I would like to congratulate sir on conceiving this policy. This is very hopeful for all of us. I remember a few years back, I will just take not much time, somebody just told me usko diabetic medicine khana hai, to lunch break hona chahiye. Few years back, Bombay has a hospital, Tata Cancer Hospital. I had a relative come and there was no place for him to stay. And it was a big struggle those days to get something on rental because patient के relative को पता नहीं है वो कितने दिन उसको लगेंगे. तो आज ये देखकर I'm really very happy that there will be something. All hospitals, not only Tata Cancer, बट सारे हॉस्पिटल्स में बहुत डिमांड होता है. रिलेटिव को पता नहीं होता है कि वो कहाँ जाएगा. मुंबई इतना महंगा शहर है कि वो पहले ही काफ़ी तकलीफ से जा रहे हैं और व्हेन दे हियर द रेंट्स इट्स क्रेजी. सेकंड, आई ऑल्सो रन अ वर्टिकल ऑफ Airbnb. I am the #1 revenue generator for them in Bandra West. So that's a completely app-based thing, जहाँ पर किसी भी involvement, किसी का human involvement नहीं है. ये पूरा app पे चलता है और ये there is a review-based system. Like we have foreigners, so we have to make Form C for them, which is compulsory. So this also should be incorporated. I feel that अगर सर ने ये conceive किया है और अगर ये reality होता है तो ये सभी के लिए बहुत फ़ायदेमंद होगा.
And lastly, on a very light note, sir थाने जब आए थे तब से हम सारे दोस्त लोग के बीच में एक छोटा सा जोक था that बुलेट ट्रेन इंडिया में बाद में आएगी, बुलेट ट्रेन आ चुकी है. बुलेट ट्रेन संजीव जायसवाल सर है जो इतनी तेज गति से चलते हैं कि सब बहुत जल्दी कंसीव हो जाता है, प्लानिंग हो जाता है. एंड आई वुड प्रे टू ऑलमाइटी दैट सर should lead the state in different capacities so that ये जो उन्होंने सोचा है ये सच हो जाए.
एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कैपेसिटी बोला, वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कैपेसिटी बोल रहा है. ही स्टैंड्स करेक्टेड, ऐसा नहीं है. ही डिडंट, बट वो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव कैपेसिटी सीएस तो बनना ही नहीं है मेरे को, इसलिए रहने दो. But thank you Fayaz, thank you very much. Anyone else? Yeah, please.
Sir, we spoke about rental housing. Everybody looks at institutional money coming in for rental housing. Sir, suppose I have to buy a house and put it on rent. I would compare it with all other asset classes and what is the return that I get. The biggest challenge is, today I buy a house, say rent it for 10 years. If I have to exit, there's a huge exit load. In terms of stamp duty, in terms of registration, in terms of, so all this, if it is taken out, then I believe, so today even retail money would come in for rental housing. That is something that we have to look at. So the gold price has gone sky high. It's more than lakh of rupees per 10 grams. But today people are investing small amounts in ETFs, gold ETFs. If some such things can be worked out. So, sir, what you have pointed out, that I rent a house and at the end of 10 years it becomes mine for a developer.
No. I said what I said was there are two models in it. Once a property is put on rent by a developer, I'm talking about the private sector. Then if someone is staying there 5 years down the line, if they want to buy it back, then we have worked out a formula as to how they can buy it. Now, presuming that that house was on rent for 10 years, then we have given the option to the developer that he wants to exit those tenements and bring it out in the open market for sale, then he also has the option to do that.
Sir, exactly. I worked out a small financial model on my iPad. Sir, it actually works out.
Yeah, I know that. So what you can do is that you can, you can see. We worked it out in a very macro level. Now at the micro level, supposedly, as you're saying that supposedly, like for example, that after 10 years after exiting, if at all I were to sell it, whoever built it, and some stamp duty exemption is to be given or something to make it more viable, then give me some points of this. In fact, in the folder that we have given to you today, there's a feedback form with a QR code. Either you can fill the form or you can take it back and scan the QR code, and all the feedbacks which come to us will be filtered and the relevant points will be incorporated.
So one more suggestion.
There's a demand which came from someone saying that I'm diabetic and I need to have medicine. And actually there's a demand from my side also that I want to go to the washroom and just...
I'll not take more than a minute.
I've been sitting here for quite some time. The AC is very chilled actually. Nevertheless.
So not more than a minute so that everybody can be relieved. Sir, we were told that you're going to get about 10 lakh square meter of housing stock in Mumbai. So that will, if that is put to rental housing at a very nominal cost of only 15,000 rupees for a 300 square feet house, MHADA can generate 600 crores every year.
I'm not the policy maker. And I will not be at MHADA for such a long time when the housing stock comes to me. What I've done is I've planned to ensure that in the next 5 years or 7 years, this is the housing stock that comes to Mumbai from the private cluster redevelopment that we are doing. I forgot to mention one thing. You'll be appalled if I say this to you, that on a very conservative estimation, very conservative, and the clusters which have been either approved or in the final stage of tender being awarded. Actually, a friend of mine was here. I wanted him to speak. Atul is there or Atul left? Atul Goyal is there? Goyal Ganga? No, he was there. I saw him. Maybe I didn't call him, so then he must have got a little pissed off. Khana khilana padega raat ko, koi baat nahi hai. So on a very conservative estimation, the private sector investment that is expected in the total cluster redevelopment of only 7, 8, 10 projects that I talked, including the BDD project which is being implemented by MHADA and the Patra Chaul which is slightly MHADA and slightly in the private sector, is almost more than 4 lakh crores. That is the private investment coming in only the clusters that I'm talking about. 4 lakh crores, and it is going to increase in the days to come. So I think I'll not give the privilege now to anyone else to speak. Mr. Wankhede, I'm sorry, Shambarkar, I didn't allow you to speak today. Because, you know, why I didn't allow him to speak today was, you know, like he would have spoken about 79A and 91A. Unfortunately, the whole 79 amendment has been challenged, and you know, the sanctity of the amendment has been challenged. So I didn't want him to say anything in lines of, you know, someone raised this point that the CES buildings, in fact, we were making an exit plan for the 13,000 odd CES building which remains to be redeveloped in Mumbai, especially in the city. And what we had planned was, in the next 5 years, all these 13,000 odd buildings will be given the NOC, and it will be ensured that the IOD is given by MCGM. But unfortunately, because of this legal hitch which has come, and though we have challenged that High Court orders in the Supreme Court, which the date is getting extended every time, तो मला असं वाटलं की तुम्ही तर त्याबद्दल काय बोलायला गेला आणि उद्या तर ते बेंचला आणि ते आता ते चीफ जस्टिस पण होणार आहे, तर फुगीच्या ते तुमच्यावर कंटेम्प्ट वगैरे झाला, तो त्यावरून तुम्हाला सुरक्षित ठेवण्यासाठी मी तुम्हाला बोलून दिला नाही. सो मिस्टर वानखडे, आय थिंक यू कॅन टेक द लॉरेल्स ऑफ डुईंग अ व्हेरी शॉर्ट Thanksgiving, and then maybe we invite everyone for lunch. Please have lunch and then go.
Today's gathering marks an important step towards shaping a holistic rental housing policy framework, and stalwarts who's who of the industry today attended along with the bureaucracy and shared their valuable views. For us, it is very important. These all suggestions will be incorporated definitely in the policy, and will ensure that the policy is inclusive and foolproof. Our Jaiswal sir always believes in taking consensus decision and taking all stakeholders together. Recently, sir has visited London and share his views on infra, housing and other related issues at House of Lords, and I would like to share that video for all of you. Request to please play video. मनीष, साउंड नहीं आ रहा.
I bring warm greetings from Mumbai. Mumbai, as you know, is the financial capital of India, the heart of Bollywood. In line with the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, who has already spelled out Viksit Bharat by 2047, where we aspire to be a 30 trillion economy. I'm happy to say that from 2.9 trillion in 2020, we have almost gone to 3.7 trillion in the last 4.5 years, which is a 28% increase. And with this rate, we would be touching our 5 trillion economy maybe by 2027. If at all we were to convert this vision into a reality, we need to have a change in the focus, in the approach. And now, under the directions of our Honorable Chief Minister, what we have shifted to is a cluster redevelopment. In the last 2 years, only in Mumbai, more than 1,000 acres, which is almost 40 lakh square meter of land, is going under redevelopment through the cluster approach. So we are laying down a 337 kilometer of metro network in the Mumbai and the city. which is going to make it the third largest metro network across the world. The biggest port is being planned at Vadhavan, which is in Palghar district, which in itself is going to handle the cargo, which is much more than most of the ports combined across the world. We've just recently inaugurated a new airport at Navi Mumbai, which at its peak is going to handle more than 60 million passengers and a very high amount of cargo. The economic resilience, the governance excellence, the innovation in leadership, the urban revolution, and the global integration, which basically is the catchline for why you all should come to Mumbai, should come to Maharashtra at this particular time. So this is the right time to invest in Mumbai and Maharashtra. Thank you, and I welcome you all for investment in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and in India. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
I thank you, all the dignitaries on the dais, especially the senior people from the industry, Mr. Hiranandani, Mr. Maharashtra, Mr. Abhinav Goel, Mr. Kunal Khemnar, Mr. Rajan Bandekar, Mr. Parag, and all other dignitaries. Thank you very much for gracing this occasion and sharing their views. Thank you very much. Yeah, I request everyone to join for lunch. Thank you. One more request. There is a feedback form for officials and non-officials. So request to please fill the form and support us. Thank you.
डॉक्टर साहब, हे माझा नंबर आहे.